You like that?
Yeah.
Story of my life. Did you buy anything in the Prime Day?
I got
Prime Day?
I got 3090, but I didn't buy it through Prime.
I was looking at a video card, bro.
Or I'm sorry, a 4090.
Yeah, I'm not getting a 4090. I was looking at 3090 Ti. $1,000 though. Fuck. Just can't see myself spending $1,000 on a video card right now. Not that I have it. That's not the problem at all. It's just it's $1,000 for a video card. Fuck. So the way I look at it, yeah, I get it, $1,000 payment, whatever. But usage, right? Like I'm not fucking stupid, right? I have money because I take care of my money, but I'm just saying $1,000 for a video card that I'm gonna get how much usage out of? And then if you're already in the 4090s, right? You already said that.
I got the 4090, yeah.
They're already in the 4090 series. So I'm gonna buy a 3090 Ti that I'm not gonna get a lot of playtime out of. I'm gonna get what I get now, right? What I mean by that, it's not like I'm gonna get enough playtime to for me in my own mind to justify $1,000 video card. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Ugh. It's hard for me to say to be okay with it. Just stop being a bitch. Don't just get it, but I don't want to. No. 40. No. So what is this Prime Early Access sale? I'm gonna read why they have it. Ooh, I'll buy that for my granddaughter.
Almost done, buddy.
It's all good. I'm looking at buying a Fire tablet for a kid's tablet for my granddaughter, just because. Why not?
I want you to give me a sound check in a second here.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Hold on. It raises volume on this one. Is it live right now? Hold on, it's doing a damn ad. It's an ad for Deli Mix taquitos. Taquitos. Oh, it's 2 ads. Got to get your revenue going, baby. Some dude throwing a ball. Oh my God, they're long. All right, com check, test 1, 2, 3. Am I supposed to hear it?
I hope so.
Mine still says stream is starting.
Yeah, you should still be able to hear yourself.
Hold on, let me make sure I have volume up, but I should. Yeah, I'm not hearing it, bro.
Okay. Let me check one thing here. The problem when you get in the guts.
Let me make sure the volume's not messed up on it. Yeah, I can hear stuff. Just not your stream. Ancient Relics Pack for New World. Pretty cool little spear. Skin.
What's going on here?
You doing well?
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything.
Not hearing you talk.
You hear me talk?
Oh man, I'm sorry. Hold on, dude. I had the tab muted.
Very.
Oh shit, I can hear now.
You can hear yourself. That's the one that's important.
Let's see. Ripper is so awesome. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Okay, that's the one that counts.
Well, damn.
It's all right.
Well, I muted because I'm hearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you.
Just forgot the site was muted. Jesus. I'm tired, so you might have a chance of getting better picks this week.
Cool.
The gut doesn't work when I'm tired and hungry. Although coffee's on its way, so coffee is not food. So here we is.
Yeah, 2 seconds and we'll start.
Yeah, I just pulled it up so I can see it. Checking it, see what's the game of the week this week. Oh, shit, that's me on.
It is Hispanic Heritage.
Ooh, so it's Los Cowboys?
Los Cowboys.
Los Cowboys.
All
Actually, it would be, as they say in Mexico, Los Vaqueros. It's weird that Mexico is big on the Cowboys. Well, most of Mexico, except for the West Coast Mexico. They're San Diego Chargers fans, or Los Angeles Chargers now, right?
Correct. All right. Let's talk about last week. You did really well. You're 12-4. You didn't pick the Broncos, the Packers, the Lions, the Commanders. I missed on the Packers, the Browns, the Dolphins, the Commanders, the Jags, and the Bengals. And if you had told me that Teddy Bridgewater would have got concussed, I would have laughed and then been like, well, I'm picking the Jets too. So I don't feel fair on that one, but it is what it is, right?
Jets.
Yeah, you're
Jets,
really
Jets.
good with the Jets picks. So, any recap on the week? Anything that you? I mean, one, the Dolphins are down another quarterback, which isn't good for them. The Raiders wow, that game, and the fact that Devontae Adams pushed a cameraman number one. Can we talk a little bit about roughing the passer? Like, what's up with
Man,
that?
well,
What's up with
Brady is Brady, so that's always going to happen. But yeah, man, the roughing the passer is getting weak. I mean, come on. You can't even push the quarterback now. Nope, sorry, you put mud on his uniform, roughing the passer.
Yeah,
They're really going crazy with that
the
stuff,
call
man.
in Kansas City where the Raiders guy, you sacked him, you stripped him, you let your hands out so you didn't land full force on him, and it's still a flag. It's not like that's a 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down. You know, that is it's a critical penalty. So
Look, man, they stripped the ball. It's a fucking. Damn it. They stripped the ball. It's a live ball, right?
yeah,
At that point, he's no longer the quarterback. He's just another guy going for the ball. And I get it happening within the process of the tackle, but it didn't look like he totally went and did it on like, oh, I'm just going to hurt the quarterback. That's what I don't understand with
User joined your
roughing
channel.
the passer, man. These guys aren't out there to say, oh, I get they need to protect the quarterback, but in the process of tackling, you need to bring him to the ground. In the process of tackling, your body is going to wrap up his body. Like, what do you want? Like, oh, you might as well make it touch football, right?
correct.
Crazy. I don't agree with the roughing the passer. I think it's just too soft. I get that you got to protect your quarterback in some sense. I mean, the going low stuff and all that, I get that part. But man, come on. He brought him down to the ground, and there was a fumble in the case. That totally would have changed the ball game, and that call just kind of gave the Raiders a whole other breath.
So the other thing was Devontae Adams shoving the guy, which lots of memes out there. Of course, he's getting now sued for assault. You can't ever do that. I mean, you can't, no matter how frustrated you are. Especially not to some. I mean, if it's probably worse, but better if it was a ref. Because I get the frustration. You just can't do that kind of thing.
But look, these guys got to understand that they're professionals, right? Like you're already on a big stage. You're playing football in front of hundreds of or not, I mean thousands of people. You're on a national stage. You're Monday Night Football. There's microphones and stuff everywhere. The guy was basically just doing his job,
Yeah.
exactly what he's supposed to do. And because you were frustrated and mad, you took out your. I don't condone taking your anger out on someone else, and that's what it looks like he did. Was it that bad that he has to get in trouble with the law and all that?
Yeah.
I guess you want to send a message and teach a lesson, but I don't know that it needs to be that bad. I think the league should just handle it and say, all right, you messed because they're league employees. It's come on, man. If he did that on the field out of his frustration, he'd get flagged, maybe suspended.
You're not
Those
going to get an
guys
assault charge, yeah.
Correct. Like it's all part of the person that got pushed also has to understand the spectrum that he's in. You want to protect those guys, and that's why the charges and all that. You want to send the message because I get it. These microphone guys, they're not professional athletes. I get all that, but I mean, there's two ways to look at it, right? He messed up and he's got to get punished, and the other way is like, is the crime that extreme where he has to get charged with assault? And come on, bro. That's just somebody. You know why that happens? Because the guy wants to get a check, and he's going to get a check.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And Devontae's bonus is going to him. So
Yeah, well, he should have known better, though. Honestly,
yeah.
You're on a big stage, and there's been those guys around you all this time. You're being a sore loser and pushed a dude. Now you pay the price, but does the price have to be that extreme? Is my opinion.
Yep.
Without the F-bomb.
Correct. So our week 6 starts off with the Commanders playing at Chicago. The Bears.
Jeez. Look. So 1-4 and 2-3. I mean, the Commanders are making the NFC East look bad right now. The NFC East looks kind of good if you think about it. You got the Cowboys at 4-1, the Eagles at 5-0, and the Giants are 4-1 also, I believe.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that we've given the two winless teams wins? So I'm not too happy about that.
Well, by we, who do you mean?
The Jags.
Yeah.
The Commanders would be winless and the Texans would be winless, but we are like, no, we will give them to you.
Well, look, you kind of called the loss against the Texans. You said it yourself. We have so much trouble with them. If I were the Jaguars, I would call you and say, "Hey, you know what? We don't want you to be our fan no more. You jinxed us. You're bad."
Yeah, I would too.
You said you might as well pick the Texans. You pretty much said they were going to lose.
Correct.
So yeah,
That's just me being brilliant and unfortunately not being able to pick them.
Okay, but that's the Jags being the Jags, is it not?
No, it's totally. Just like worried about this week. I mean, this is definitely a week that we can do the same thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, the bad part is your Jags are playing the Colts, who, once again, and I must remind you, you were very big on. Actually, you said they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did say that. That was a few weeks before I realized their defense was non-existent and their running game evaporated. So and Matt Ryan turned into a pumpkin. Did not know all those factors, which is why that's why the seasons come out, and you kind of they play the games, right? That's why.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious to see what you pick. The Colts or the Jags. I guess we'll find out.
Oh, it's a homer pick. It's like you can't. Are you going to pick the Cowboys or fill in the blank else? The Cowboys or the Bills, right?
But you were so big on the Colts.
Yeah, well, no. Homer pick. All right, Commanders, Bears.
Oh God. I mean, look. This game is 1-4 and 2-3, and 2-3 should be 0-5. The Bears are horrible, and you know that. And Wentz, as much as the yardage is great and all that, like I said, I've been waiting for will the real Slim Shady please stand up. Well, the real Wentz is standing up, is he not? He had a horrible game. He's not great. He probably never will be. You know, he's a good backup quarterback in my opinion. Sorry, hiccups, my opinion. But this team, the Commanders, there's a few things that can change for them, right? Their running back Gibson ain't all that. They got once a shot in his leg back. What's his name? Robinson or something like that.
The rookie that got shot. Yes, I do not. Yeah. I do not know his name. He is for now ever known as the rookie who got shot
in the butt. Shot in the leg guy. Yes, he's doing the stanky leg. What was his leg? Was it his butt or his leg?
His gluteus maximus. Wow. I think he got shot. Yeah, it was. It looked like it was. Yeah, but the one that I saw was upper thigh.
Well, Wentz sucks for one reason and Fields sucks for another. Both quarterbacks suck. I think this one is going to be one. Well, I'll start from the start. The Commanders are going to win this game because they're the better team than the Bears, but both teams aren't very good. The Commanders have just a better receiving core in McLaurin and Samuel. They can catch the ball pretty well. Wentz does it, but now Wentz is starting to catch up to his touchdown to interception ratio. He has 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Wentz is Wentz. And the running game is there. The Bears on the other side, again, their running back Justin Fields is pretty good, but the quarterback Justin Fields is not. Herbert ran. Well, they didn't really run Herbert this last week because they have what's his name came back. Jeez, I know his name, but I don't.
Is it the receiver Allen or is it the running back Eckler? I'm not sure. Who are you referring to came back?
For the Bears, bro. Montgomery. David Montgomery's back.
Gotcha.
He's back. So Herbert took a sideline seat, he was pretty big for a couple weeks there. It's going to be the Commanders' passing game versus the Bears' running game, and whose defense will do a little bit better. In this case, I think that the Bears' defense is definitely better than the Commanders, and that's probably why they're 2-3. But in this game, I think the Commanders take the win. I don't think Justin Fields can pass, and Justin Fields, the running back, got shut down, and I think the Commanders do just enough to beat the Bears. So I'm going to go with the Commanders.
So actually, Washington is a better defense per yard. They're about 20 yards better than the Commanders. However, if you flip it around on the offensive side, Chicago is next to the Baker Mayfield experiment, also known as first coach fired, whereas Washington's a middle of the road pack. So this is simple to me. The Commanders statistically are better on offense. They're better on defense. They should win. And with that saying, we'll both miss that pick. So
I'm 12-4, buddy, and 11-5. I don't know.
Yeah, we were better than before, but
Although this isn't one of those, I don't have any stats, rhyme, or reason. It's just a gut pick.
yeah,
I'm
this
just
is
going with the Commanders are better.
yeah, and yes, Fields could have a breakout running game and they win this one. I mean, it's not going to be a huge. I don't think there's a huge disparity in the teams. And Wentz could have a boneheaded 5 interception day and the Bears win. So this could definitely go the other way. But I'm just going to say if you play these teams 7 out of 10, the Commanders win.
So what you're saying is depends which Fields shows up. Fields the running back or Fields the quarterback. If Fields the quarterback shows up, they lose. If Fields the real running back shows up,
correct.
Dude, people have converted to different positions. You never know, man. Fields might end up being as soon as he makes it to Cleveland, they'll make him a running back.
Oh,
he'll be at Cleveland in a couple of years.
Gotcha. So, and last week I also said the Falcons were going to be pesky, and they were. But this week they play. What I think is shaping out to be the best team in the NFC, the 49ers are at the Falcons. I know. Cowboys excluded.
What do you mean, Cowboys?
Best team in the NFC.
Oh, come on now. We all know the best team in the NFC is the Cowboys.
That's correct.
In case you didn't watch that defensive, just spectacular show they put on. All right, so Atlanta and San Francisco. I mean, to me, Atlanta's just not good. You know, you want them to be, and they look like a team that should be, except for the fact that they got, Mariota at quarterback and Cordell Patterson's now hurt. Algieri, whatever his name is not a bad running back at all. But I don't think it's enough. He didn't do very good. They've got a nice rookie receiver in London. We've been through all this every week, man. Atlanta is not very good, period. Not good enough to beat the 49ers. Garoppolo, again, contract, well, whatever you want to call it. He has a 1-year contract, so I guess it is a contract year for him once again. Garoppolo's trying to land on a team, man. I think, I think Garoppolo is going to have one of the best seasons of his career, and people are going to be like, man, let's sign him. And then he's going to get signed, and then he's just going to be a dud because that's what Garoppolo feels like, right? The 49ers just have a better running game. The running back, Deebo Samuel, and the receiver, Deebo Samuel, are pretty freaking great.
I was going to say, is there any part of the Falcons that you would go, that's better than the 49ers?
No. Even if we do our age-old proven fantasy relevance.
You just, yeah.
Atlanta has none. Who do they have? Cordell's gone now, so that was really the only. London's not bad, but he's banged up also. So what do you have left?
And you can't get the ball to the beast type. I mean, Pitts would be a weapon if he could get a ball to him.
Pitts has his kryptonite. His kryptonite is Mariota.
Correct. Which you would think a quarterback who's not that good would be loving a prototypical tight end.
Yeah, well, Pitts would be better on, say, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Correct.
Or any of the other 31 teams in the NFL.
Yeah. And he went from, again, Matt Ryan, who looked you better, to Mariota, who does not. So I think you're saying the 49ers are going to win.
Yeah, 49ers.
Yeah. So the 49ers are the number 1 defense in yards allowed, whereas Atlanta is the 25th offense. That does not bode well. The 49ers are middle of the pack offense, but still competent, whereas Atlanta's D is 27th. So this shouldn't be a close one. This should be the 49ers all the way.
Niners.
And if you're a Falcons fan, you probably want that, right? This is the blow it up, get a new quarterback, and that's what you wanted. So that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, they're playing for the number 1 pick for sure. Man, that running back they have Algier, I think he's gonna be something special. Algeller, I don't know how you say his name. Plus, you still have Patterson, who was reborn a running back.
Yeah.
And London, they've gotten Pitts and all that. Honestly, man, you put a good quarterback in Atlanta, that team's contending. But for their sake, anyways, they gotta hope they lose a lot of games so they can pick up a star quarterback for next season.
Yeah, and they're the other thing is they're holding. There's playing above the sum of your parts, and they're doing that very well. I mean, they're not getting blown out by teams. They're putting the effort in. So that goes that a lot of the players that you don't have fantasy relevance, the tackles, the guards, the defensive linemen that no one's drafting in a fantasy football league. Those guys are solid. Because they're not getting blown out in the trenches. It's just they don't have anyone to put them over the top and on the quarterback scene. So I think the same thing about Garoppolo. I think if you are not all world with Ayuk and Juszczyk and that running game and Deebo Samuels and Kittle, like what are you waiting for? That's that, and he's had success. He's got to a Super Bowl, but I can see why they're like, you know what, this guy's not going to take us to the promised land. We need to find another person. I mean, that's why they're moving on, right? They realize that he's not able to win at the highest level. So,
who, Jimmy G?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, that's what I mean, you have to think that, right? If he didn't even make the starting quarterback over a rookie, I mean, basically that's what it is.
Second year guy, but
yeah.
He was hurt last year. But there's got to be something in that front office that's going on, man. And they can't think that he's that bad because they signed him to a 1-year contract and it wasn't like pennies.
Well, I think someone was like, we can't get rid of him, because he is unproven. And look, had they traded him, where would they be now? We wouldn't be talking them as a playoff team. They would be, unless their third string is, Tom Brady.
We'd be saying they were the Falcons.
Yeah.
On the West Coast. Yeah.
User disconnected from your channel.
But I just don't think Jimmy G's. He's not given a fair shake. I guess he's got him there once and didn't win. Fine, I get that point. But so have tons of other quarterbacks that have gone to the Super Bowl once and lost. Right?
Yeah.
Shit, look at Jim Kelly. How many Super Bowls did he get him to? Hey, lost 3 to the Cowboys, by the way. Or is it 2 to the? Yeah, right. 3 or 2 to the Cowboys.
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
But anyways, actually, he lost all 4 of them to NFC East teams, weren't they? 2 Cowboys, once the Giants, and once the Commanders. I was gonna call them the Redskins.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's politically allowed anymore. Anyways,
I saw it on the broadcast though. They called him, and then it was corrected. He was like Redskins. You mean Commanders? And I was like, oh wow. So
I don't think he's got a fair shake, bro. There's been plenty of other quarterbacks that have gone to the Super Bowl and not won either. So why is Jimmy G the guy who can't win it for him in the big show? Because he's been there once.
I'm not in the front office. I don't know, but you don't. If he's your guy, you know how quarterbacks are. If you run with a guy, and you're about to run into a situation with Rush, right? Do you run with the hot hand, or do you put in the old quarterback? And this is going to be fun to watch in Dallas. So, again, I don't know what they're thinking. I think that I don't like Lance. I like Garoppolo, but everybody's moving into this new, mobile. He has to run. Justin Fields and all those guys. And what they're going to find is that you may want a Patrick Mahomes, but a lot of those guys who run really fast can't throw the ball. And then you become one-dimensional, and that is not good in a NFL. So
everybody wants, you're right, the multiple asset quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can run, he can pass, he could throw himself, catch and touchdown and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's also because football's changing. So back high school football didn't really run the spread before, right? Now they do all over the place. But before it was
3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yeah.
Correct, right. It was a power game, all that good stuff. And so was college, and then everything started changing, right? Now everything, high school programs, 8th grade programs, 7th grade everybody's running the spread. Youth program, I run the spread. Not all the time. I still run a power. I have different formations, right? And so do every high school. But for the most part, high schools down here and all across Texas are running the spread. And in the spread offense, you need a running back / quarterback, right?
Yep.
So that's the way it's going. So most of your successful college athletes are used to those programs. So colleges are running that kind of stuff, right? And that's where it goes to. And that's what you're getting in the NFL, and everybody's seeing it, and it's this and that. we'll see how it all turns out. But
well,
yes,
it turns out like every time they do this, right? So there have been teams that have been counterculture the entire time, and what I mean is, back in the day, everyone ran a 4-3 defense, and then I think the Steelers came out and were like, well, all those guys that are tweeners that can't play in the 4-3 are great for a 3-4. And now you've got a pool of people that were otherwise not useful that you can grab from. But then people make the mistake of copying, trying to replicate that success, and they don't realize it's because there was a pool of tweeners that weren't being used by other teams that would have never made it on a 3-4 or 4-3 defense because they're too small, whatever, fill in the blank, right? That they work in this other defense. But if you all switch to a 3-4, then that talent pool becomes diminished because you got one on four, every fourth team. So that's what's happening with a quarterback is everyone wants the super duper mobile quarterback that can play in the spread, but there's only one or two of them. And now what ends up happening is the pocket passer becomes not drafted, and some team's going to go, you know what? While you guys are running the spread, we're going to run the eye with this guy in the pocket that's Tom Brady, and he moves 5 feet. It takes 15 minutes to run the 40, but he'll hit the ball where it needs to go. And he's much better than a guy like Fields who can't hit the broadside of a barn. And that's what's going to be interesting to watch is which team does that, because they'll be able to basically beat the number system. Does that make sense?
Yep. You have to adjust to the people you have. But look at it this way. So say I'm Coach Al and I coach the Cowboys. And I'm the offensive coordinator as well. And I've always ran the spread and I'm known for this and I'm known for that. And I'm going to draft a quarterback that fits that system.
Yep.
And that's what it is. There's too many. I think everybody, you're right. It's the talent pool and all that. Everything you said hit it on the nail on the head. But in quarterback situation, everybody's looking for the same model of quarterback. So you're right. And it's limited and you're not getting it and people aren't adjusting. And you have quarterbacks playing in systems they're not built for. And I think that hurts a lot of teams.
Yep.
Coaches need to evolve.
Correct. And I one of the I think one of the biggest times I saw it was with Martz and the Rams. He wanted to run that spread offense, and Warner was getting slaughtered because he literally didn't have time to get rid of the ball because the line had degraded from the Super Bowl years, and he was just stubbornly sticking to it, and they were like, just leave a tight end in, don't go 5 wide every single time, and he wouldn't change. Obviously, didn't last very long and didn't have the success that Vermeil had, but it's interesting to watch. I think there's a lot of, in my opinion, I actually talked to my son about this. There's a lot of coaches in the NFL that think that they're the greatest thing ever. And in reality, there's like one or two. You get a guy like Belichick, which if you watch the Packers game, I'm pretty sure he talked to the cornerback and said, Rodgers is going to do this. You need to be here. Because the cornerback jumped the route and picked the ball off, and he had no business doing that. So I think there's like one or two coaches that are outstanding, and the rest are not. I mean, they can be. Tomlin's another one. I think Tomlin's always a really good coach, but his is more about setting the tone and being the commander in chief, and he doesn't really get into the play styles as much as, like you said, he's not a spread guy. I'm going to lead the team and be a leader, and the other things, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, are going to do their roles. So it's all interesting.
Well, it's generational. Well, not generational, but every decade or so, whatever, you get these coaches, right? You can go back to the Tom Landry, you can go back to Jimmy Johnson, you can go to Bill Parcells, and a lot of these guys, you get their coaching tree, right? You get other guys that are off the Bill Parcells tree, like Sean Payton, stuff like that are all running their models of the coach they came from,
yep.
right? And then you get the dynamic coaches that stand out. I know that Belichick was kind of a Parcells guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he evolved. He made his own thing. He made his own name. He evolved and became dynamic. And now everybody are off of him. And every 10 years or so, there's those 2-3 coaches that really are changing the game.
Yep.
But right now, everybody's basically following the same freaking system.
Yep. Exactly.
Eventually, it'll get boring. Maybe not.
All right. Our next up we have is New England versus the Browns.
The Browns. My favorite place.
Which I think if you look at the stats, Jacoby Brissett is the number one quarterback for quarterback rating.
A guy with a nickname, the Brisket.
He is cooking in Cleveland.
No, I mean his touchdowns to pick ratio sucks though. It's 5-3.
I tell you what, I hate the fact that Big Dog was right. Like I hate that because I thought Mayfield was a decent quarterback, but he isn't.
No, he isn't. I thought so too, honestly, but man, he's been exposed big time in Carolina. He is horrible, bro. He really is. But Jacoby Brisket isn't the best either. His completion rate's okay, 64% and whatnot, but he has 1,060 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. The big thing in Cleveland is honestly the running game, man. Between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, man, they've got almost 900 yards, right? Something like that.
Correct.
Close to it, anyway.
Yeah, they're beasts in the running game.
And 9 touchdowns, like wow. They're going to end up hitting 2,000 yards together, right? And now the running back by committee, 2,000 yards by committee is pretty freaking good. So I think the running game is the big deal in Cleveland. Obviously, Nick Chubb went off. Defense is pretty good as well, is it not? They're pretty good across the board, man.
Yeah.
Whereas the Patriots, Belichick team, we just talked about them, but Patriots have some problems. They have an okay running game too. Harris is hurt now. Stevenson ain't a bad running back, but between the both of them, they also had a big amount of yardage. Myers is an okay receiver, but other than that, it's Aguilar. And come on now.
Yeah.
I think overall, I mean, this isn't a hard game to get into, and these are no-brainers in my opinion. I don't think the Patriots beat the Browns unless Chubb and Kareem Hunt get food poisoning the night before and don't play. So this is pretty easy to call. I don't know if we have to get too into it. The Patriots, again, no Garoppolo, no Brady. I mean, I can guarantee you right now that they're thinking they should have kept Garoppolo. I don't know. Mac Jones is okay, but he seems to struggle a little bit. He's got 2 TDs, 5 picks. Is he hurt still? I don't remember.
I mean, he wasn't good when he wasn't hurt, so he is what he is.
Patriots don't look good, bro. Everything has changed there because Brady left, and that's the truth. Because Brady, didn't take the money he could so that the team could be better. And now you've got all these people there saying, "Yeah, okay, well Brady's gone. I still want my money, right?" So Correct. Things have changed. Or Belichick is being stubborn and wants to prove that he could do it with whoever. Well, it's not happening with Mr. Jones. So move on. Browns take this one, and I don't think they just take it. I think this one's going to be a somewhat lopsided game. I think Chubb and Hunt really tear the smoke out of New England.
So the
Jacoby Brisket.
The Brisket. So the funny thing, so 2 things. Number one, Brisket's time is almost up. And then when they put Watson in, the question is what happens? Because if you get 2 year ago Watson, you've got a running quarterback that can throw the ball. But you trying to do that in the middle of the season from a guy who hasn't played in, 20 games? What are you going to get? And is it any better than the Brisket? And I know that early in the season, the Packers were talking about it, and LaFleur, and he was like, why aren't you got 2 good running backs, why aren't you running the ball? Well, because we have to develop the pass for later, because that's going to be needed somewhere, and we're not simply wanting to get to the playoffs. We want to get far in the playoffs, right? So the same kind of mindset here is you got to put him in, and you got to get him ready. But can he get ready and not lose enough games to get you out, right? And I don't know about that. From this game perspective, you've got mirrors. The Patriots run the ball and don't throw the ball well. The Browns don't throw a lot, but they run a lot. And the Browns have the better running backs by far. I would like to think that Belichick can pull something out, but you pull the coach card, and the defense is 15th in the league, whereas the Browns are 19th. I just don't see this defense being able to stop Chubbs and Hunt, and then mounting a comeback, an offensive onslaught to take him out. this was I said at the beginning of the year. I think this is Belichick's. This is going to be a losing season. It's going to be a bad year, which probably isn't a bad thing for the Patriots. They've had a lot of winning seasons, so a high draft pick can't hurt. I mean, this would be an interesting game if Belichick can pull something out of the hat and stop Chubbs and Hunt. He does take away one player, so maybe he can take away the running back, and beat the Browns. But statistically, the Browns are the better team this year. So, Browns.
The Browns. I agree. The Browns. I think we'll leave it at that. There's not much more to say about this game, other than the fact that the Patriots did start last week, or was it last week, right? A kid from Victoria, Texas. And they did beat the Lions 29-0. Now, the Lions are 1-4, so it's not a big deal. But what's the kid's name?
You said him last week.
Zappy, man. Bailey Zappy. Or Zapp, probably. Kid didn't do great. 17 of 21. Only missed 4 passes, 188, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, which isn't great. But, Belichick probably said, all right, we're going to limit his throws because, again, he's an unrestricted free or not a walk-on kind of player, right?
Yeah.
Victoria, Texas, that nobody's ever heard about. But he didn't do too bad, right? He managed the team. He got them up there. They won. The running game really tore it up. I just don't think that it's enough to beat a team like Cleveland, right? They played the Detroit Lions, who I don't know if they play defense in Detroit anymore.
They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Still going with the Browns. Even though I'm rooting for Zappy, still going with the Browns. And I think I picked them last week, didn't I?
Yeah. Your Miracle Jets at the Packers. Are you staying on the Jets bandwagon?
Fudge. I kind of have to at this point. Come on now. They're on a row. What's his name? Aaron Rodgers. Jesus, I can't even remember the real people. So Aaron Rodgers just lost one, right? Last little second jump up and block your stuff pass.
Two in a row.
Is it 2 in a row now? Wow.
It was 3rd down and 4th down where both blocked passes at the line.
Well, the Giants aren't a bad team though. Let's start with that. They're not
they're an NFC East team, so I know you love talking about the Giants.
NFC East is the hardest division in all of the NFL and the whole world.
Correct.
But yeah, look, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, bro, and he's gonna do good no matter what he does or who he plays. But there's something missing there. Why did he I don't understand how the running game didn't do great, right? If you look at last week's game,
it did. They stopped running.
Okay,
The running game did really good. It's the opposite of these coaches get cute. It's the opposite. You and me, if you had a running back and he broke through the line and got 7 yards on 1st down, what are you doing 2nd down?
Look, bro, the saying is you keep running it till they take it away.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So when you run him on 2nd down and he gets 7 yards, guess what? It's 1st down and you need to do it again. And we get 7 yards, what do? You call the play again.
I get it, but as a committee, they had under 100 yards. I don't understand what happened.
But look how many carries they had.
19.
So 19, and they had 100 yards. Do the math.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, they're getting almost 10 yards a carry.
So if you're running, okay, I guess we can do it this way. If your running back gets 10 yards on 1st down, are you gonna get smart and throw the fade?
It's 5 yards. 5 yards.
Okay.
Carry, but yeah, my bad on the math. I'm kind of stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
But still, 5 yards a carry is 5 yards a carry. If my running backs give me 5 yards a carry, it's the 1st down, and I'll go. Give it to me on the 20. I'll go 5 yards at a time to get a touchdown. I'm okay with that because at the same time, I just ate up half the damn clock.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know why a coach tries to get cute or, and this is a big or, man. Look, who rules the roost there? Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it LaFleur? Have you ever thought of that?
Well, and that's what someone actually said. That is the question: is LaFleur calling this play or is Aaron checking them? Because
I think it's Aaron.
It could be.
I think Aaron's lost his shit, bro. Sorry, there I go again. But hey, not back so far. But I think Aaron's lost it a little bit. I think this dude, man, look, I have a kid, a player. I'm not. Well, his nickname is Nugget. I'll just use his nickname. Had a kid. Love the kid. Great athlete, man. Just an exceptional talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he got so into his own head that everything changed. Like, literally, you're talking about a 10-year-old talking in third person, right? Like, yeah, Nugget needs a touchdown. And this and that. It's like, what the? Like, it got weird. Man.
Warthog needs to win this week's picks.
Well, there you go. But it got so weird that he was a mobile quarterback for me. He kick and throw. He's also right now he's playing receiver at another team, but he's no longer with me because the craziness, right? Like, dude, literally, I'd call a play and he would just call his own number over and over and over. Towards like, I just got so frustrated, like that experiment ended, right?
Yeah.
But is Rodgers in that point? Man, you saw how much he dictates what happens with Green Bay. He does dictate what happens. If he really wanted to, man, he could have LaFleur fired. And you know that's true because they're going to choose Aaron Rodgers no matter what. Why LaFleur's still there, who knows? Because he wanted to get rid of him. But I honestly think that Aaron is checking stuff down, man. I think that LaFleur's not going to come out and say that because you don't cause that kind of chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you start quarterback. I honestly think there's something more there than just the coach got cute and messed up. Because the coach is a coach, bro. You can't, come on, man. These guys are professional coaches. Yeah, sometimes they do stupid shit that we criticize as armchair quarterbacks or armchair coaches or whatnot. But these guys are professionals, bro, at a high stage. They know what they're doing, man.
Yeah, but do they? Come on, that analytic crap. Like, let's talk about that for a minute.
Jeez.
Everyone does the analytics. So I tell you what, if you got me on the 35 and my field goal kicker is a normal NFL field goal kicker, take the points. Don't go for 4th and 3. And people are leaving points off the board, by not taking those points. And it's impacting the game. Like, everyone's getting cute with all these things. I think they do the same thing. They get analytics and say, oh, we've got 5 yards of carry, but this fade has a 33% chance of being more effective, so we're going to do this.
And video killed the radio star, buddy.
Yeah. It just
technology.
And it's great, but you sometimes don't. Even technology doesn't sometimes understand all the variables. There's a lot of complexity in a football game, and again, just because it says it on a sheet doesn't mean that your left guard is able to do that. It's a different thing. So, I'm interested in your pick because the Jets have surprised me. I'm almost ready to get on the Jet bandwagon. I still don't believe in Wilson. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback. But the Jets have improved their team overall, and the Packers are struggling. I can see this, again, it's Aaron Rodgers, so I can see this as Aaron Rodgers going, I had a bad game last game, and now I'm going to put 35 on you. And I wouldn't put it past him, and I'm going to pick the Packers. But the Jets are no joke.
They're not. To touch on the analytics stuff, though, real quick, you're right. There's a lot of teams now that are relying on analytics, but that's technology. Every sport is starting to do that, right? Like, you can go all the way back to poker now, right? Everybody's got this little, 35%
betting strategy.
Yeah, right. So I get it, and the analytics are. It takes the guessing part of it, right? To me, it's a tool, right? If I had it at youth football, would I use it? I would definitely look at it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I never punt. You know that? I never punt because the percentage of what your punt does for you, I'd rather go for it on 4th down because you are more likely to convert that 4th down than you are punting it. Now, this is youth football, right?
Correct. We're not talking about punters that punt 70 yards down the field. Yeah, exactly.
My punter's going to give me a fucking 20-yard punt and big deal, right?
Yeah.
But you go for 4th down, and the probability of me converting a 4th down, honestly, is 50-50, and I'll take that chance.
Well, and it's youth football too, so you're converting a 4 and 3, 4 and 4. It's not a 4. I'm sure you have a logic behind it. If it's 4th and 25, you're gonna be like,
yeah. Well, depending on where we are in the field.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm at the 50 and it's 4th and 25, I might still go for it.
Correct.
And I'll tell you why. Because we're at the 50. Youth football, it all depends. There's a lot of. I'm not gonna get to football, but there's a lot of factors to it. Now, these guys are using analytics that do all the factoring for them, right? And it's like, all right, well, I'm looking at it, and right here at 4th and 2, it's giving me a 70% chance to do it. Cool, I'm going to do it. Well, you didn't account for Big Bubba James that's going to plug up that 4 gap and kill you.
Yes.
Right? Like, so.
Well, and like the Chiefs game, did you see that? Where you went for 2, so you're only up by 7. What? And then the flip side, the Raiders didn't kick the field goal. They went for 2. Like, what are you guys doing? Like I know the card says 70%, but look at the board. You go up by 8. It's now a hope and a prayer.
Yeah. You make it hard. Yeah, you're right. And that I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of the equivalent of baseball with the money ball. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
They're all using a strategy that's based on technology and different stuff now to pick their players and stuff like. And it's working. Do the analytics work? They probably work more than we think, man, because we're not there. We don't know, and they're not going to tell us, well, this play and this play and this play. The analytics told me to go for it. You only hear about it when they're big stage plays, right? Like, man, he should have gone for the field goal, but he went for 2, and well, the analytics say. Who knows how many times they're using the analytics on that field? Probably a lot if it's that big of a deal.
Like you said, there's always common sense that needs to take precedent. Like in the Chiefs, when they went for 2 and they were only up by 7, or you're like, what are you doing? Just kick the extra point and be up by 8. That should never be like, are you sick? Because what's the flip side? The percentage of that play might be 62%, but what's the percentage of someone coming back to tying you when it's up by 7 or up by 8? See,
Correct.
that's the flip side of that analytic, right? They're only looking at the micro and not the larger scale picture of what's going on. And I think that's what drives me nuts about it. And I think it's also different in win. Like if you're doing it, if you bypass it in the first quarter, it still hurts, but it's not as bad. They're doing it late game. Like that was fourth quarter. That's just dumb. So.
Agreed. Now for this game though, I think there's something more going on there than is alluded or we know, right? I think there's something, and I think it's Aaron Rodgers involved, and I think eventually it will come out. I think Aaron is off his rocker a little bit, bro. Just look at it. He's frustrated. He's mad. You're throwing the guys named Cobb and Dubes and Lazard, and like, okay, who are they? I don't know. They're the backup choir, right? So it's different. And yeah, you've got a running game in Aaron Jones and Dylan, and you're not using them. And why? Come on, man. You think that's really the coach saying, I've got some great running backs, just not going to use them. Got to keep Aaron happy. Or is that like, hey, Aaron, you're going to run this? And he's like, nah, you know what? I'm going to pass because I'm Aaron Rodgers, and I say so.
I don't know. But I know it's not a winning formula.
Though. He's 1,100, almost 1,157, 8 TDs, 3 picks. So he's not doing bad considering what he has left. But I honestly think that Aaron Rodgers checks down or he kills plays. He changes the plays a lot, bro. Now, the Jets, bro. I know they don't have the best of quarterback. He's not bad. Their running game isn't that. The rookie Hall isn't very bad at all. They've got some okay receivers. Man, there's some chemistry going on with the Jets. There just is. Look at them. They're playing like a team, right? Like they're playing like for each other. You can see it in them. They're hyped. They're pumped. They're just playing with this different energy. And sometimes energy can make a bad team great, bro. And that's the truth. And I think that's what's happening here. And I'm going to go with the Jets once more to beat Aaron Rodgers and shock the world. And it's going to be the Jets, Jets. Don't ask me for why, stats, analytics, or anything else. Just based on the fact that I think they're playing. I tell my kids, we play like an open hand, 5 fingers. And if you hit somebody with an open hand, does it really hurt? Or you close your hand and play like a fist and knock the turd out of somebody. And I think that's what the Jets are doing. And their defense is playing, pretty great. And I think the Jets take this one again. Jets, Jets. I ain't saying Jets to the Super Bowl, though. I'm just saying they're going to win some good games.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And the massive turnarounds, the defense. This was the 32nd ranked defense last year. They're in the top 10. And they can stop the pass. They can stop the run. That's the big difference. Their offense has just become mediocre. But their defense is and like you said, they're rallying, right? They're playing good defense. The offense is sputtering along enough to win them games. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked that the Jets win this one. I will be upset, but not shocked.
Field position, defensive scores, defensive stops, all that plays into it. Look,
yeah,
you can give me the ball at the 20-yard line, and I can have the worst team, and I'm still going to move the ball. I mean, like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? We're still going to do something. And that's what's happening. The Jets are just, now, again, not having, the Dolphins were playing the guy from Seat 4, Section 18 as quarterback, right? But
Please report to the lower level mezzanine for outfitting.
Calling Skylar Thompson. Your uniform is ready. Come
Exactly.
on. I mean, who is that guy? Had you ever heard of Skylar Thompson ever?
No.
I don't know if half the people.
And as soon as I, because it was 5-0, the Jets were up, and I'm like, not a big deal. Like, that's one touchdown. And then I heard Bridgewater out, and I was like, nah, this isn't going to go well. And then the Dolphins kind of made a comeback, and I'm like, well, maybe. And then they were like, nah.
It's crazy. You know what sucks even worse is that the Dolphins have talent. They have talent. They really, really do. Their running game, whatever. They have Mustard over there, Raheem Mustard, but their receivers though. Come on, dude. You got a great tight end in Gesicki. You've got obviously Tyreek Hill.
Waddle.
You got Jalen Waddle. Yep. I mean, dude, the team is loaded, but it's another situation. I guess you could say like Atlanta, right? Like you've got so many good pieces, but if you don't have that quarterback, what do? You can't be one-dimensional and just run, and they don't have the running back to be that one-dimensional running back team. So yeah, man. I mean, even though Mustard tried and did pretty good, the Dolphins are from looking great to looking bad. Now I heard Tua's coming back to practice, but no release to play. I mean, man, I don't know if the Dolphins. You know what I equivocated to, man? They're in a boxing match and they got stunned, buckled knees, and they just couldn't come back, right? I think that's where the Dolphins are right now. Will they ever get back on their feet? Who knows? But man, the Jets are just looking like they're the ones who Buster Douglas, and he just knocked out Mike Tyson, and they're just gonna ride that wave for a while. So Jets, Jets.
All right, the Jags and the Colts.
Oh man, buddy, I don't know how to pick this one without hurting your feelings.
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm
obviously not a homer. Jags. Man, look. Again, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I think Sunshine. I don't know if it's all Sunshine either. Although, yeah, you can kind of put the blame on him too. I don't know, man. It's hard to say like, oh well, the Jags, right? I don't know what's going on with them. They look like typical Jags, right? The typical disappointment. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I feel your pain big time. We've all been there. Look, I'm not stupid. I'm waiting for the Cowboys to be who they really are, right? Like I'm hoping not because Cowboys. Like you said earlier, the one team that won, the Patriots have won so much. So if they lose now, oh well. Us Cowboy fans, we won 3 Super Bowls in the '90s, and we're still living off that, aren't we? So I'm waiting for that pain too. But the Jaguars, man, they're playing. They're who the Jaguars usually are they not? I hate to say that because they're a professional team, but they continue to be who they've always been. They start off great. Okay, I don't know about great. I know you'll say great, but they start off okay.
They are what they are, and I to me it is. I think this was one of the fears that I had drafting this guy. This is a guy who has lost how many games in his life? And the answer is
Sunshine?
Yes.
Very little.
The answer is less than one hand. You know how many close games he had in his life? The answer is also on one hand. He played at Clemson, where they were the best team in college. He played in high school, where they were the best of their high school teams. He's then come to the NFL, and he's got to win close games. And what I've seen, there's one thing that scares me is when he starts off games, he sails passes. And you know what that's indicative of? Nerves. And you can say all the things you want. You can have all the tools you want. But if you get nervous in games and you sail passes and you get that little mental thing, it'll eat you alive. He's got all the tools. He's got all the skill sets. What he doesn't have is that consistency. And I hope he learns it. I hope he learns from his mistakes. Last week was inexcusable. The pass that he threw, and they'll say he didn't see the guy. I don't care. You cannot throw that pass. It's second down, second and goal. You throw a pass right into the arms of the defender. It was a terrible pass. 99% of the time, you do not throw that pass. You run the ball, you throw it away, you go to third down. You're still third down. Tie ball game. Worst case scenario, you run it twice up the middle. You don't get any yards. You kick a field goal. It's 9-6. Flip on the defensive side. They third down and forever. They grab the quarterback. They throw him to the turf. Automatic 15 yards. First down. They ended up driving, get the touchdown to win. This is a team that's had your number at home, so you've already got the mental block. And then, like you said, they jagged it up. The Eagles game, bad weather. I'll give them that. They played tough. They had a lot of turnovers. This last game was mental, which scares the hell out of me because this game is also a mental game. We don't beat the Colts in Indianapolis. This is not a good Colts team, but the Jags team, basically what we have is a good defense that's been very turnover lucky in the first quarter of the season, and a mediocre offense that's learning its identity. That's what you have. You probably are missing a number one wide receiver. We don't have that. Your running game, we get away from it too quick. So, and that's something that Peterson's always done. So, I'm picking the Jags. Homer pick. I don't have any reasons why, other than we beat them handily in Jacksonville, and I'm hoping it happens again.
Look, baby, let me tell you something. I get quarterbacks. We have 7-on-7 leagues. I've seen quarterbacks in 7-on-7 that are just boom, 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 hitting dimes, right?
Yep.
And they put pads on, and they come to football, real football, tackle football, and they are not that quarterback.
Yep.
All right. Sunshine, great college quarterback. We've seen it with plenty of college quarterbacks that come to the NFL, and they're just never great in the NFL. I, in my opinion, of course, think that's Trevor Lawrence. I think he was a great college quarterback, great college quarterback. But the NFL is the NFL, man, and it's just so different. Your reads are different, the speed is different, everything is different. Can he play in the NFL? Yeah, I think he's gonna be he should put a ponytail on, sit on the bench, and be a good backup somewhere, bro. He's not your starting quarterback, and you said exactly why. Nerves, right? A starting quarterback's gotta have some balls, bro. Look at Tom. Yeah, you're gonna say, look at Tom Brady. Look at this guy. Look at Dak Prescott. Good college quarterback. I don't think he's a pro quarterback, right? I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a pro quarterback. I just don't. I've never really bought into him. I root for him, right? But
Yeah.
you want the guy to do good. But I've never bought into the fact that Sunshine, he doesn't have the look, bro. It just doesn't. Now you could say the same. You look at Mahomes, and he came in all flashy. He doesn't have the look either, but the swag, the balls, all that came into play with Mahomes. Like,
no, the first year was 50 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well,
So he said the difference. So the thing that the hope I have, Urban Meyer was a terrible, terrible coach. So what I feel that you have is a rookie quarterback that actually took a step backwards by listening to Urban Meyer. So
I don't disagree.
So if that's the case, this is the year to work the kinks out. And if you show improvement, that would be great. The scary thing is the last game of last year was his best game ever. And then fast forward, weeks 2 and 3 were his best game after that. Basically 2 more really good games, probably one after the other. Which one was number one? It doesn't matter. But he was showing progress. And then you're like, oh, so 3 weeks in, you're like, he had a great final week of the season, a bummer first game, and with moments, and then 2 solid outings. And then he's followed up with 2 abysmal outings. And the one side of the ball says, this is his rookie year. This is going to happen. People are going to watch tape of him, see what he's doing, and they're going to adjust, and now he's got to adjust back. That's the plus side. And if he can adjust and they can get those kinks out, then great, because this could be his rookie year. The other side is it's not, and he's never going to get it. Carson Wentz just didn't get it. There's been several Jeff George back in the day, remember? Jeff George is like, I get it in there. Brett Favre to some extent. So Harbaugh, yeah. So I'm on the fence. I want to see progress, and to me, it would be a great sign if he comes out and just tears the Colts apart, right? Because now he's just because you can't. We've lost to 2 winless teams without us. You can't do that and be a playoff team. You just can't. It's great we beat the Chargers, but that doesn't mean a hill of beans if you can't beat the low-level teams in the NFL. So the consistency's not there. I'm looking forward to that. If we don't get it, you're right. He's not an NFL quarterback.
Look, Pumpkin, I'm going to break your heart slowly.
No.
Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to use them as an example because it's the same delusional, keep that hope. Like, I know Dak Prescott's going to be good one of these years.
But Dak was.
I know Tony Romo's going to do great someday.
But Romo was undrafted. This is the number one overall pick. That's
Correct.
One of the top 5 rated quarterbacks of all time coming out of college.
Ryan Leaf?
Not one of the top. He was like the 6th. But
Second pick.
Yeah.
Well, first pick got traded. Actually, he was the first pick. Wasn't Ryan Leaf the first pick?
No, it was Manning. It was Manning in the Colts, and then Leaf to the Chargers. You're thinking about Eli Manning.
Yeah. But still.
But I remember the conversations where they were like, who's better, Manning or Leaf? And some teams thought Leaf was.
Correct. I just don't, man, look.
Who also ended up to be the Cowboys, where quarterbacks go to die.
Oh, come on now. No. You got that twisted. Cowboys are the party team. That's what quarterbacks go to get high. You got that wrong. Not die, high.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, come on. Quincy Carter, who, by the way, I mean, funny story, and I'll throw it in there. Quincy Carter. You remember Quincy Carter?
Yeah.
Quarterback. Well, he actually was living down here. He actually coached a couple of my quarterbacks. I've met him, talked to him. He actually coached in one of the leagues we run down here. That's how far he fallen. He's come back up, and great guy, man. If you meet him in person, he's a good guy. He's cleaned himself up recently. He had a drug alcohol problem. I mean, he would call me so literally. Quincy Carter, imagine that, right? An NFL quarterback called me. I have his number in my phone. Give you his number right now. Call me, and I'll send you a picture later. But called me and was drunk, high. I don't know what he was, telling me about some coach that owed him money, and he was so pissed off about another organization down here that owed him money. I won't mention it because
Yeah.
And he was so messed up, man. And Quincy was kind of a small joke down here, bro, around the other orgs because he was, he had some problems, bro. He really did. Some of us put our hand out, still helped him when he needed it. Like, hey, I need to make some money. Can I train some kids? Like, a few of us helped him out. I did. I was one of them. He's a great person when you get to talk to him straight up. Now he's changed life. He's in Austin now. He actually has a pretty good quarterback school going on. He's cleaned up his life and he's doing really well. But man, how far they fall. He came down here because he was playing for the RGV Dorados, an Arena League football team, and that's how he ended up down here.
Wow.
But point in case, I forgot why I brought up Quincy Carter. But
you're talking about Sunshine, and then apparently he's going to have a drug problem and be coaching in Little League in Texas.
I'm just saying, man. The guy's just not there. I don't see it. He doesn't have the fortitude, the brain. Sure, I'm sure he's smart, but you're right. The guts aren't there. The leadership isn't there completely. You got to think, man. You've got to lead a locker room of mixed ethnicities. You know that how that rolls, right? Everybody's got to buy into your quarterback, man. And they the reason Romo was loved in Dallas because everybody bought into him, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Lawrence. I think I don't know. I just don't think he's got that locker room. I don't think he's got the balls. And eventually, you keep losing or keep messing up. Guess what happens? People start thinking that you're going, hey, coach, why don't you invite Billy out of Section 5 to become quarterback? Because Sunshine, he's got to go do his hair or something.
Yeah.
Like they're going to get tired of it. And Lawrence isn't that guy. Now, as far as this game, I hate to say it, I'm going to go with the Colts because
the AFC best team.
Jonathan Taylor, but Jonathan Taylor is hurt, correct? I don't know if he's playing. He might still come play. If he does, let's assume he does. Great running game. Matty Ryan, man, he's another Matty Ryan that can't win the big one, man. He blew it big time in the Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
They've got good receivers. It's a good overall team. I think that their defense is going to be pretty good, and I think that the Colts are starting to come around the way we thought they were. The offense is never going to be the machine anybody thought they were. I don't believe Matty Ryan's going to have his good statistical games. He always does. You can depend on Matty Ryan, in fantasy, whatever, to get you some points. But he's also going to throw his picks. He's also going to choke and all that. He's a great quarterback, but he's an old quarterback. And and old school, right? He's a pocket quarterback, and right now, look at defenses. Look at the Cowboys, right? Like Parsons and Lauren. Like the defenses have so much speed now that you can't be a pocket quarterback anymore, man. You better be able to move and roll around and all that. Those are the successful quarterbacks. Look at Allen. Look at Mahomey. Right? It is what it is. Ryan is still a problem. He was a problem like that in Atlanta. He was antiquated, and he's antiquated against the Colts. But on the flip side of that, Sunshine's playing like he wants to be on the JV team and still throwing interceptions and everything else. And I'm going to give this one to the Colts.
Yeah, can't do 6 points like we did last week. So if that's the case, and the Colts are, so the funny thing is the Colts can't run the ball. Like that's the funny thing. They're not running the ball.
Etanene looked good though. This game he did.
And on the flip side, the Jags have a really good defense statistically. So we'll see.
Well, your rookie Travis Etienne didn't do too bad this last game though.
He did.
I mean, they lost, right? But yeah. he Robinson hurt or not?
No.
Or he's just gonna lose his starting position.
No, he was. I think he's a fat. So they're different backs. I think they have roles. Robinson's the pound him. Etienne is the short little, scat back. He can't run through the tackles. He doesn't know how. So when you put them in, you have this separation. What happened? And the Texans just couldn't cover the running back. That's what happened. And unfortunately, we got away from it in the second half. But we'll see. Hopefully, it's a bounce back game. I'm the best case scenario to me is you got Josh Allen. Josh Allen looked terrible his first few years. Right, 50% completion. I mean, Trevor Lawrence isn't that guy. He's making bad decisions in a few key plays. He doesn't have the greatest completion percentage. These seem correctable. So your upside, you get Josh Allen. So we'll see.
Trevor Lawrence is going to beat the teams that are mediocre, just like Romo and Dak Prescott. And that's what my whole point with the Dallas Cowboy teams was. But again, do you want the guy that can only beat the sub 500 teams, or do you want the guy that can beat everybody? I think Trevor Lawrence is the sub 500 guy. So
he's losing to the sub 500 teams. He's beating the better teams, which is the weird part. Yeah, well. All right, we got the Vikings and the Fish, or the Miami Head Traumas.
The Head Traumas. That's messed up. The Head Traumas. Look at this one.
Do you need to look at this with calling Bob in section 511?
Who's their quarterback? Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
Well, I mean, look, Miami's still 3-2. They still have a defense. Whether they played well last week or not, they still have a defense that can roll. On the other side of the ball, right, you've got Cook coming at you, and you still have Cousins on the other side, and that's another quarterback who's going to show up, right? Cousins, that can throw the ball and not make many mistakes, or Cousins, the guy that the Vikings want to stuff in a locker and not let come out, right? Because there's two sides to Cousins, Jekyll and Hyde, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
He plays two different, and it's almost, I mean, if you look at it, maybe it's one good game, one bad game, or whatnot. But the guy is, I don't know. I don't know why Cousins isn't extremely consistent. But when he's on and when he's good, he's good. And that's the truth. He can throw for a lot of touchdowns. He can throw for a lot of yards. Cousins is another guy that'll give you stats. But when he's off, oh my God, he's off. And he has the weapons, man. You have Jefferson and Thielen and Cook. And it's not like he's missing pieces, right? Eventually the Vikings are going to say, all right, well, we're going to hold off to the end of this contract. And then Bama knows, right? They're not going to extend Cousins again. It just won't, man. I think the Vikings know they have the weapons, and their timeline for doing good with what they have is going to run out. And I don't think Cousins is the guy, but who is, right? Like, who do you go get right now that replaces Cousins in the Vikings? Not much.
Garoppolo. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the same that you don't. And you're not going to be low enough to draft one, right?
Correct. Not because he keeps winning enough games to keep you at, pick 20-something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that. Now, the Dolphins. Man, you got to feel for these guys, bro. One big head trauma, which, again, we won't get into because we already have, and we all know is the fault of the organization. Then Teddy Bridgewater's like, yeah, I'm back, bees. I won't say the word, but I'm back. And then, yeah, no, you're not. Boom. His stats say 0 and 1. That's bad. Not even a 0, just 0. But yeah, I mean, hey, I'm gonna play quarterback, and boom, you're out. All right, get Brucey in. So now they got Brucey. So you got Brucey at quarterback right now,
We got it.
right?
Oh my God, we got what's that jailhouse movie? The Longest Yard reference.
Yeah.
Brucey.
So Brucey's at quarterback. Honestly, who's Skylar Thompson? I mean, we can look it up, and
I think
don't
she
even know
was
what
in the
college.
WNBA, wasn't she?
Exactly. They let her out of the Russian prison. But anyway, he's like Skylar Thompson. Who is that? I've never even heard of this Luke Skywalker character. So Brucey's at quarterback. Now, again, that's the hidden, the big, oh, what can he do? Well, he went 19 of 33, 166 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. I think that tells you what he can do. Now, again, you're playing against a highly motivated Jets defense. That's just I'm telling you, man, Jets are gonna make some noise. We won't get into that again because we all know where I'm at. I'm riding that Jets train right under the Cowboys, Cowboys and Jets. But I don't know who Skylar Thompson is. I don't know what he's gonna do. The Vikings. I'm gonna go pick up the Vikings defense for this week. I'm telling you right now because I think Skylar Thompson's gonna be. You get a pick, and you get a pick, and guess what? You get a pick six. He's gonna give shit away. I guarantee you. It's not gonna be pretty. Now they do have the weapons, Tyreek Hill, all that. Again, not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna make a difference. I think Cousins. I mean, well, let me put this out there just to put this out there. It's still Cousins, right? And he might be on the other side going, "Oh, you want to be Oprah? No, let me show you Oprah."
You get a pick back. You get a pick back.
Yeah. So if they start going to see who can get the most picks in the game, yeah, it's gonna be a close one. But I don't think that happens, and I think the Vikings beat the Dolphins. I am taking the Vikings. I don't think Skylar Walker or Brucey or whatever we want to call him has what it takes to go and win this game. We know Tua's not back yet. He's back, supposedly going to be back at practice this week, but that guy's 4 or 5. If he ever plays again, bro, still there. But yeah, I think the Vikings take it because the Dolphins, as many tools as you have, again, if you don't have the quarterback to throw to them, the leader of that team, you're in a lot of trouble, especially in the NFL day nowadays. We've seen it. You can't use some. Well, fuck, I can't say that because you can say you can't use some backup quarterback to win games, but let's go back to reference the Cowboys and Cooper Rush, right?
Yes.
A guy they released before the season started. Now they were going to bring him back anyways, but they released him to make some moves, and they knew that nobody was going to pick him up. That's who we're using at quarterback right now. And if the Cowboys can win with Cooper Rush, then I guess the Dolphins can win with Brucey, but that's not happening against the Vikings.
Well,
Vikings
the difference is Cowboys' defense is looks elite.
Correct.
So
well, yeah, they're giving you pick sixes and they're giving you the ball. Hey, here's the ball on the 3-yard line. Go score.
Yeah, and unless you're Trevor Lawrence, then it's not a problem. But so the interesting thing about this is we don't. So I take the first game out because what you got is you got a third string quarterback that doesn't know how to be a second string quarterback. That's new. That's been sitting there going, that's a pretty good gig. I be the third string quarterback. I sit behind Tua and Bridgewater, and they're paying me. And then fast forward 4 weeks, and you're like, well, you want me to do what?
I can't eat chicken strips at halftime anymore.
And he's calling 411 waggle. Why what? So he doesn't.
I need my line.
He doesn't know what the hell. So they're going to give him a week where they're going to shrink the playbook and give him what he can do and ask him which plays he wants to run and so on and so forth. The league, everyone. This is what I love about people that watch football is they just don't understand. And I've heard this. I remember back when I was in the military and coming out of the military, there was a lot of people that were going to work out, go to college, and they were going to go play on a Division I school. And I'm like, no, you're not. And the reason why is I went to Division I schools on trips and saw their backups were 6'4". They ran 4.40s. They could lift a Volkswagen. Like, we're not talking the starters. We're talking the backup. Like, they kill my ass. So, the NFL has elite players. And even the third string quarterback can probably make most of the throws. He's a good athlete, so on and so forth. He was someone's best high school player, someone's best college player, and then he's just third string on the Dolphins. So it hurts because there's no film on him, so you don't know what his tendencies are, and so when you're defense, you're like, well, we don't know what he's going to do. With that said, I think the Vikings, even though Cousin does have that, like you said, that Jekyll Hyde game where he's just inconsistent and he's throwing picks left and right. And the Dolphins team is dangerous. I mean, basically, I see this as he's an unknown wild card, and you have no idea what you're going to get. But he didn't look that great last week. I can't put a whole lot of stock in it because they're going to actually have him as the one this week. But I think the Vikings are the better team. I wouldn't be shocked if he comes out and throws 400 yards because that's the kind of thing that happens for these players. And then what would happen if you played it forward is you get 3 or 4 games under your belt, and then defenses have enough tape on you that they're like, oh, this is what you can't do. So I'm going with the Vikings, but it's going to be interesting to see how the quarterback goes.
Look, bro. Brucey already went. He hit 19 of 33, and I get for 166 yards. So I guarantee you those 166 yards, 19 completions, I'm going to tell you 15 of those were probably dump off passes to the running back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, there you go. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see Brucey coming in there and throwing for 200-plus yards. I mean, you never know. A star is born, right? But, yeah, I don't know about that. He does have that nice little name, like Trevor Lawrence and Skylar Thompson. You know, your great NFL. That's a high school quarterback name, bro. They never make it to the NFL. They have here, but Brucey's going to be on the bench.
Just like
you can't
have a Joey, right? That no NFL quarterback can be called Joey.
Correct. You'll forget about him.
Looks like so we are on to Cincinnati and New Orleans.
Ooh. Look, Taysom Hill, holy smokes. In one of my fantasy leagues, the guy I played had Taysom Hill. He lost by 20 points to me. Had he played Taysom Hill, he would have won by 30 points. Like, that's all. He had a game, did he not?
Woo, so I didn't watch that one. I don't know if you did. So what I understand happened is quarterbacks went down left and right. And then did Hill play quarterback when he was doing all that, or was someone else playing quarterback and getting him the ball?
No, they put him in at quarterback.
Okay, so he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints this week.
I would assume so. It wasn't all for quarterback, to be honest. He didn't do a lot of quarterback. All of it was mostly rushing. Well, yes, quarterback, but running the ball.
But that's what he does.
Yeah, and I think they threw to him once. I don't remember 100%, but it was mostly just run plays, right? They ran the spread offense and spread the defense out and let him run, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was. He had 3 touchdowns, 112 yards rushing. I mean, I was pissed because they're inside. I think one of them was inside the 10. I'm like, yes, Alvin. Oh, no, put that guy in.
No, they weren't. Yeah. Kamara's like, that guy, the white guy runs better than me anyhow.
Kamara had a big game, too. Yardage-wise, Kamara had almost 200 yards, bro. He had 103 rushing, 91 receiving.
Nice.
So Kamara, he's back. Like, he's back. Thank God. He's healthy. He's back. I say thank God because I have him in almost every money league, including the one I'm in with you. So, yeah, he's back, which is awesome. But, yeah, Taysom Hill is going to vulture a lot. Is he going to play quarterback? I mean, he can. Will he? Yeah, probably. I think, what's his name, got hurt, didn't he? Andy Dalton was in there, too, though. So, I think it'll be Dalton starting, to be honest. And Taysom was coming in for Dalton. Did he get hurt, too? I didn't hear that he got hurt. So, I'm pretty sure Dalton will start. The Red Rocket. We'll see. But on the flip side, I had the Seahawks. All right.
Oh, so it looks like Winston's back at practice.
All right, so
no one knows. So they're just going to be quiet until the game starts.
But look, man, Taysom Hill is a weapon. You got to use him, period. Regardless, period. So they'll keep using him moving forward, I think. I think if he's available, pick him up. I tried. Someone already had him in the other league. Someone else had a higher waiver point. But he's going to continue to get his touches and his picks because he's always been a weapon. They just don't use him on game flows. The weapon, anyway, the Saints have tons of weapons, whether it's Winston's back or Dalton or whatever. Kamara's back. That's the big thing. If they got to lean on Kamara, I think against Seattle, he could run it up again. I mean, against Cincinnati, he can run the ball. The passing against Cincinnati, obviously, Cooper Rush did it. So, on the flip side of that, I think the Cincinnati, as far as Saints and their weapons, sorry, I got a little tongue twisted. Saints and all their offensive weapons are great. Obviously, their defense is. I don't know if they play defense in New Orleans, considering the game score. However, Seattle scored 13 points in the fourth quarter to try and make a comeback, but still, 32 points on the defense is a lot. Again, if New Orleans Saints' offense is outscoring, then great. On the flip side of that, Cincinnati's defense, I didn't think it was awesome. I don't know what the stats are on that. I'm sure you'll tell me right now. But the Bengals, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow, and he's going to be great because he is great. And, you got Jamar Chase and Higgins and all those great receivers out there. With Mixon running the ball, he is still there, right? He didn't get hurt, Mixon?
Yeah, he's still there.
So this is a coin flip almost. It's going to be tough, man. And the reason I say tough is because look, Cincinnati's starting to warm up, bro. And that's the truth. They're only going to get better and better and better. Burrows he's a quarterback that did great in college and is going to be and is a great NFL quarterback. Not like Sunshine. But
who he beat in college.
Correct. So, long story short, because I know I went a little long-winded on that one, I think this is going to be a tough game. I think that New Orleans has too many weapons for Cincinnati, and Cincinnati loses this one.
All right.
So, New Orleans.
So, let's just go down the list here. You got New Orleans is the 7th overall offense in yards. Cincinnati is the 22nd.
Correct.
New Orleans is the 10th rushing attack, where Cincinnati is the 25th.
C.
New Orleans is the 13th passing attack. And Cincy is the 12th. So Cincy's slightly better in the passing attack. On defense yards per game, Cincy's 13th, New Orleans 16th. Cincinnati 7th in stopping the run. New Orleans is way down at 24. Cincy's 18th in the pass. New Orleans is 12th. So, based on that information, I am going to go. The Bengals are stout against the run, which Seattle is not a good defense. So basically, what you're doing is you're putting the ball in New Orleans quarterback's hands, and that's not good. On the flip side, the Bengals can't run against the Saints defense. They're not going to be able to, but you're going to put the ball in Burrow's hand, and I think Burrow is better than whomever, unless Taysom Hill gets 19 touchdowns this game. So, I mean, the Saints defense isn't what it used to be. It's obvious that this year that they just don't have as good a defense as they used to, and that made a big difference. So I'm going with the Bengals.
Let me tell you something. All those Saints stats would be much better if Kamara had played the last two games. He comes back from injury and lights it up. And I get it, Seattle, but either way, I mean, he touched the ball 23 times on the ground and ran for 103 yards, 4.5 average, not bad. And then in the air, he had 6 receptions for 91 yards, which back to the old Kamara, right? And that's the best part about Kamara. Winston loves checking down to Kamara. He will drop it to Kamara, and Kamara gets those 10, 15 yards a run.
But Seattle averages 170 yards given up on the ground. That's what they average. So
that's because Taysom Hill went for 112 and Kamara went for 103. I mean,
they're dead last against the run.
What's Cincinnati?
7th, 99 a game.
Who have they played? The Cowboys? Come on. Let me tell you something. You're fantasy running right now, right? You're looking at your lineup and you have Kamara. Do you sit him or run him? No matter what defense, even if it was the number one defense.
You run him. You run him.
Correct. You have to stop Kamara. That doesn't happen a lot. Whether it's through the air or on the ground. The guy can run. The guy can catch. The guy makes plays. I think that's the big difference. The weapons on New Orleans are just much stronger as far as the offense. I know what they have in the Bengals, but I'm going to still stick with my pick. I'm going with the Saints.
I'll remind you that when Winston throws his third pick.
12-5. Or what is it? 12-4? 11-5? I'm on a hot streak right now.
You are on a hot streak.
Don't make me pull out the gut. I haven't pulled out the gut yet.
Yeah.
Except for the Jets. I think the Jets is all gut.
Thanks, Astria. Someone was chatting.
Oh.
Okay. We got Baltimore and the Giants.
Oh boy. We started off already. We know the Giants are doing good. They play in the hardest division in the NFL.
The toughest division in all of football. And
Yes,
the
all
world.
of football. Yes, and the world. The NFC East. So Giants are looking good, man. They're not, I thought David Jones was gonna be
Daniel.
whatever. It tells you how much I care. He's a giant. I don't give a turd. So Daniel Jones, good old Danny boy. I thought Danny Boy was going to be a Brucey. He's still not great, but he's doing enough to win games, right? Like if you put him in a position that he needs to score an important point, he's pulled it off, except against the Cowboys. But he's done well. You got Barkley back. That's huge, and you know it. Having a running back like another guy who number one defense, do you sit him or play him? This year you play him. Last year you sat him. This year the guy is back, and he's a bad dude, right? I mean, he's doing great. So your quarterback, you give your quarterback average, and you give your running back excellent. Your receiver core is where it kind of hurts for both teams, actually. The Giants are kind of throwing to Sam Shepard and Ricky James or whatever their names are. Not great receivers. So you're probably checking down to Barkley more than anything. But they do have Barkley, and Daniel Jones is managing the game well enough to win, I guess. And you can tell by his completion rate is 66%, but he only has 848 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
And I think 300 of them came against the Packers last week.
Correct. So he's managing the game, and but they're still 4-1, right? So you obviously he's managing the game, and they're like, all right, just don't throw it past 10 yards and give it to Barkley. Right, so he's a handoff king. I mean, 97 attempts, bro. That's a lot already. But anyways, so on the flip side, you've got the Ravens. Now the Ravens, you can't say enough about Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson is who he is, and he's going to continue to be who he is. He's a bad dude. Andrews, again, that's his best receiver. Tight end, but his best receiver. Running game, their best running back is Lamar Jackson. I always see a problem when your best running back is your quarterback, obviously, because a team is going, and he's dangerous. You can't just say, all right, we're going to stop him from running because, he's going to throw the ball on you. Or we're going to stop him from running, and he's going to or passing, he's going to run the ball on you. He's so hard to defend, but he is defendable. Now, are the Giants that team? Man, I think they might be, to be honest. I think both of them have a great defense, in my opinion. I think they're both going to play some lights-out defense. But end of the day, is Barkley enough to overcome the running back Lamar Jackson? Yes, I would. If I had to go running back to running back, Barkley's better than Lamar Jackson. But Barkley can't throw the ball. And on the other side of the ball, you have Daniel Jones, Danny, whatever his name is.
Who also can't throw the ball.
Yeah, correct. Brucey Jr., who cannot throw the ball that great. So end of day, you have to give it to Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. As much as I want to see Barkley do great, and again, I'm not doing this because I hate all the other NFC East teams. And yeah, I do have
But
Barkley,
you do.
Yeah, well, I do hate him. But there's too much on the other side to overcome, right? The defense is good on the Ravens. The offense, I mean, they're not the best passing offense, but, they should be. I mean, 12-5, bro. 12 touchdowns, 5 picks is great. 62% completion, 1,000 yards so far. You can't plan for Lamar Jackson, bro, because he's the prototypical I can kill you with my feet, I can kill you with the pass quarterback. So where do you go with that, right? There is nowhere to go other than I'm going to say that the Ravens win this game because Barkley's not enough for the Giants.
So Saquon got hurt in the Packers game. His shoulder, he's listed as limited practice, so his shoulder. The Ravens cannot stop the pass. They are the 32nd ranked team against the pass. Normally, I would go Daniel Jones can't throw the ball, but I saw what he did last week, and I went when he threw the ball. So, the question to me is how hurt is Barkley, and how much can they withstand Lamar? Because Lamar's going to get his yards, right? He's going to get his yards. He's going to be a dangerous person, and have those chunk plays like he always does. So, I'm looking at the Giants are the 12th ranked defense, and specifically, they're not good against the run, which that's not good with Baltimore, right? Because Lamar's gonna eat you alive. So with Barkley hurt, the Giants not being able to stop the run, I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
The Ravens, huh?
Yeah.
Lamar's too much, bro. Barkley should be playing though. I'm reading up. He's not. They're saying he should be okay.
Yeah.
I hope so. Because have a couple of running backs on bye, and I really need him this week.
It's all about what Ripper needs.
Of course it is.
The Bucs at the Steelers.
Oh boy, let's go look at that one. Well, Steelers are trash. Let's start with that. Come on now. You saw what Allen did to him. Now, I can't say that the Bucs are going to kill him because Brady seems to be off. Is it just me or does it seem that way?
Nah, he's and the question is it, you lost a Gronk, you lost a Howard, even though he's bouncing around the league, you lost a Godwin. Now your talent pool is a lot less, and it's you throw to Evans and maybe Beckham if he signs. So that's kind of where that's at in my opinion. I think it's a little bit him degrading, and a little bit the offensive weapons are not there anymore.
Well, I mean, Mike Evans is still having big games though.
Correct.
He hasn't slowed down, so.
But you go from 3 red zone weapons to 1, right? So now you double cover the 1, and there is no Gronk in the middle.
True. Now look at this stat. They played the Falcons, and Brady still threw 52. We had 52 attempts, completed 35. That's a lot of passing, bro. Leonard Fournette, mediocre game, right? 14 carries, 56 yards. But they're still letting Brady. I mean, they're putting it all on Brady still, bro. He's still airing it out. And they only scored 21 points. He only threw 1 touchdown and no picks. But 351 yards out of 52 attempts, bro. That's a lot of passes for one game. Fournette didn't do great on the ground, but he did great in the air. So you know that at 10 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 targets, Brady was checking down that ball a lot, right?
Yeah.
Mike Evans had an okay game at 81 yards, no touchdowns. Godwin had 61 yards. Cade Oden, the rookie, or I don't know what he is, tight end, 43 yards. Scotty Miller. So a lot of guys got yardage, right? He spread the ball.
Typical Brady, throwing the ball around.
Correct. So, is he the same Brady? No, but could that be age? Sure, but man, look, we've all seen it before. Brady at 80% is still better than 25 other teams starting quarterback at 100%. I think there's a lot on Brady's mind. Do we know his personal life? No. I know that his wife called me twice. I haven't answered the call. Brady, love you, bro. But anyways, you know how he's going through it, and we don't know what the exact reason. I was just joking, but Brady shouldn't call me. Don't send him in my house. We don't know what he's going through. It's a divorce, bro. You're a professional player, right?
Yeah, but there's still mental aspects. Yeah,
correct. Film sessions and all. It's a job. People watch Hard Knocks, watch all these shows. They're real, man. This is a real job. People think, they practice, they go play games. It's all good. Oh, man, you need to get more educated. For professional quarterbacks, even all the players, They have film sessions. They have so much they have to go through, learn. I mean, you have to be a smart guy to play football in the NFL. You really do. You have to, and there's still the guy that says, oh, "My name is Billy," and he's dumb as rocks, but boy, can he crash through a line and mess some people up, right? So there's that. But yeah, for the most part, though, from receivers to quarterbacks, the great ones, man, they're studying, they're doing their homework. There's so much mental aspect to it. Now throw in the hey, I'm going to divorce him. We don't know the exact reasons why, do we? Have they let that out?
No.
Is she banging some other dude? Who knows, right? We don't know that. We don't. Did he bang some other dude? I don't know. We don't know the details to it, but something's going on.
It's
And
a distraction.
Big time, bro. Imagine during the season. And I heard that's part of the reason too. She didn't want him to go back, blah blah blah. Because I'm sure that dude, all the work they put, it takes away from his family. You know it does. It has to, man. It has to. These guys put so much time. People think they go to practice for 2-3 hours and then they get to play football. Nah, that's it. This is an 8, 10, 12-hour job for some of these guys. It really is. Not just that. Part of their job is recoup and recovery and icing and all that stuff they have to go through, film session, and it's so much it entails an NFL football player that they really don't know about. Even college. That's I've had a few of my players go through college ball that have come back and told me, Coach, I just couldn't, man. I couldn't play and go to school at the same time because playing in college was a full-time job. We had so much to do that, and then on top of that, still go to all our classes, still do all our work. It was too much. It was too much. Even on scholarship, just too much. Not everybody can cut it, man. It is what it is. Now, point is, it's a lot, and he could be distracted. But even that distracted, man, he threw 35, and this is Brady. He always throws a whole bunch of passes, and his completion rate was, over 60%, right? So not bad. It's still Brady. That's 351 yards, a touchdown, no picks. Distraction or not, you give those kind of distractions to Sunshine, and Sunshine's throwing 18 interceptions with 30 attempts and 2 yards completed.
Thanks for the dig.
So the point is,
Dak is throwing none, but that's only because he's on the sideline.
Who is baby? I got Cooper Rush and Rush. We believe. I don't even know Dak. What you talking about? So, anyways, on the flip side of all this, whether Brady's even playing at 50%, they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they got lit up by Allen. I mean, literally lit up, right? There's just no. I don't even want to get into how bad Pittsburgh looks right now, and they do. Whether it's just their coach is good, maybe his time has come in Pittsburgh, which honestly I think is the next step. This losing season may cost them. It really may. I mean, they just don't. They don't look good right now, bro. And I think that Brady will come in there and he'll pass the ball just as well as Allen did, and they're going to have a lot of yards. Their defense just doesn't look right. They're missing a couple key players, obviously, in Pittsburgh. Their running game is horrible. I know they have a new rookie quarterback, and they're trying to rally around him and all that good stuff and all that. And it may pump them up a little bit, and they may rally a little bit. But is it enough?
No.
Does it matter? No. Tom Brady's going to come in there and say, hey, yeah, Allen did what? Yeah, hold my beer. Let me show you what I do. And he's going to tear it up, man. And then I think this one is a no-brainer in my opinion. Buccaneers take it.
Yeah, we're not even going to spend a lot of time. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense is bad across the board. Their star running back isn't getting any holes, right? And they've got a rookie quarterback. So I think this is just a culmination of they spent a lot of years as the North alpha dog and picking at the 25th pick of the draft. It takes a toll on it. You spent 15 years in that driver's seat, getting 25 round picks, and now you've lost Big Ben. Big Ben wasn't even Big Ben when he was here the last year. You've lost him. You try to get Trubisky because you're like, well, shoot, we'll take a flyer on this guy who was a former first round pick. Found out he wasn't any good. Now you're going to the rookie. Your defense can't keep the game together. On the flip side, look what Brady's done. He beat the Cowboys. He beat the Saints. He lost by 2 to the Packers. They lost to the Chiefs team, which, let's face it, the Chiefs team is on a higher level than them. And then they beat the Falcons, who were just being pesky, right? So I think this is a game that he can come out and not have to throw it 35, 40 times and still win pretty handily, which is what they kind of need in this game. So
52 times.
Yeah. So, well, I'm thinking he throws it, 20 or 30 times, and they run the ball, and all of it works because the Steelers are so bad.
Yep.
Bucs all around.
Yay.
Next one, we got the Panthers at the Rams.
I laugh because neither one of these teams looks great in my opinion, bro. I know the Rams. They didn't look great against the Cowboys. I'll tell you that much. The Panthers, Baker. Panthers defense may be okay, but Baker, right? I mean, I feel that Cleveland's like, yeah, y'all, who's laughing now, right? Like, Baker is who Baker is, bro. And I thought in Cleveland he looked better than he did with the Panthers, but and you kind of feel bad, man, because the Panthers they don't have much, bro. In fantasy relevance, if you look at it, they have McCaffrey. Period. I'm not big on Robbie Anderson or
No.
who else they have. They need
Yeah.
more. It's McCaffrey, and that's it. That's it. And he can't do it all, man. The Panthers are going to have a long season, and I think that's what they want, so they can sign up a number one pick quarterback, let him play a year
And trade
under
him to
horrible
Cleveland.
Mayfield. Really, I don't know. Baker will be back in Cleveland in 2 years. You know he will. So yeah, there's that. And the Rams on the other side, Stafford. I mean, let me look, man. Cowboys defense is crazy good right now, and that's the truth. I'm not saying that from delusional Cowboys
You're
standpoint.
not. They're
just great. They're monsters, bro. Diggs is again probably gonna tear it up with the interceptions. Parsons is an animal, bro. An animal. Now Lawrence is doing good. He did get a little banged up, but I believe he's coming back. That defense, I mean, they better. Lawrence is one of their highest paid DT. Parsons is like the best pick the Cowboys have had in years. I mean, this is crazy, crazy good defense, bro. They're really going to be hard to beat. They will get beat, but the defense is hard to stop. And the Rams, again, they were playing the Cowboys defense, and they didn't do great. But they didn't look great either. Like, he didn't throw a lot of great passes, right? He overthrew a couple open receivers. He threw some ugly passes. He threw one pick that you don't know who the hell he was even throwing at. He overthrew his receiver by 40 yards up in the air, it looked like, right? So Stafford he's being Stafford, right? He's always gets you tons of yards, but that's because he was in Detroit and had to throw the ball 85,000 times in one game.
Yeah.
85,000 attempts, 20 completions and 8,000 yards and 18 touchdowns with 32 picks, but I'm making that up. But you know what I mean. Stafford is who he is. Cam Akers finally showed up and started doing some things this last game, which is great. They still have Cooper Kupp and Higbee and all them, but
it's not all them. It's them.
Well,
it's not all them, and I think that's what's come up to bite him. So that it looks like. So when Stafford came, it was the year that they had the number one defense. That's when he signed in, and then their defense dropped to like 5. Their offense had the weapons. They had Beckham. They had Coop. They had Higbee. They had weapons, right? And what's happened is they lost the Von Miller. He defected, right? They've lost offensive linemen, and it's all been starters that they haven't replaced. And now you've got Aaron Donald not getting the double team because last year you couldn't double team him because you had Von Miller on the outside. Now they're like, well, why not? And you've neutralized Aaron Donald. Then you neutralize Stafford because his line isn't holding up. The running game hasn't been there. So basically, it's all de-evolved, and their offense is now very bad. And you can see it's a struggle, and they're trying to get the ball through. They're only averaging 299 yards a game. They're trying to push everything to Kupp because he's the one playmaker they have. And of course, any competent defense like Dallas is going to go, well, we're taking that. And now what are you going to do? And then it becomes Higbee and then Stafford getting pressured and making wild duck throws. But Dallas is a top 5 or 10 defense. Carolina is not. And it's really, at the end of the day, the Rams are going to look like the old Rams for this one game. just beating an inferior team, in my opinion.
Agreed. We don't need to spend much more time on it. I 100% agree. It's going to be the Rams. I know Carolina's defense isn't horrible, but Baker Mayfield. Let's just leave it at that. The Rams.
The Rams. All right, I think our Lilliputian leader is coming up next.
The little people.
The Cards against the Seahawks.
Jesus Christ.
Lilliputian guy's going for 4,000 yards. He's going to win MVP off of this one game.
Probably. Seahawks don't know how to play defense either. I don't know. You got a Geno on one side and an Oompa Loompa on the other. Long story short, without going too details, because I know we're running a little late. Lockett, Metcalf looking good. Lockett better than the other one. Geno's actually hitting him on passes, which is great. I mean, for all the trash we're talking about Geno, now again, he's played some teams that were, but 1305 and yardage, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. On paper, he looked bad, right? I know Penny, of course, like I called it, would get hurt eventually. I don't know. I may have said week 3. We're on week 5, so I was off by a little bit. I may have said week 1, second play. Who knows? But anyways, he's out, and that what is it? Oh, I don't know his first name, but Walker, is he a rookie? I know he came in and did pretty good. It's not going to be enough. Period. I think the Cardinals have, in my opinion, a better defense, a way better defense. I think they'll stop the run. Little people, man. Well, he's going to lead his little people army down the field. He's going to score enough points to get the win. Connor is hurt from what I'm hearing, and Benjamin stepped in, did pretty good. You got Mr. 50-50 and Zach Ertz, so 50-50 is Brown. Without spending much time here, man, there really shouldn't be. I still don't think the Seahawks are great. I know they're starting to look a little bit better, but they're not playing teams that you're going, oh, that's awesome. And this one, I picked the other bird. I picked the red bird, the Cardinal, not the Seahawk.
Yeah, the only interesting thing to me on this one is that Geno has turned into a competent quarterback. Remember how everyone left Metcalf alone, thinking he wasn't going to be able to hit any of the wide receivers, and Lockett, both of them were left on way longer than they should have been for their skill set. It was completely based on the quarterback. He's turned that around, and that's, hey, good for him. He's been in the league forever. The Seattle defense is the worst in the league, so they flew past Detroit. And it's Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Seattle. These are the teams that just can't stop anybody. They have major holes, and basically, Seattle's is you can basically run your grandma. If your grandma's there, she's getting 5 yards of carry on Seattle. The Cards can run, and even if it's just the Lilliputian guy, he can, you can't see him anyhow when he's behind the line, so he'll just scoot out for 8 yards. Cards are going to win this.
Agreed. I agree they'll win. Seattle's only played teams that have not a really good, like New Orleans doesn't have a great defense, so the Cards.
Game of the week. Coming up next.
Week, and why do you call it the game of the week?
That is the Bills at the Chiefs.
Why? Game of the week? This is a boring. I don't even want to watch this game.
What?
This game's gonna suck. They're not gonna. It's gonna be all defense, no points. Yeah, right. This is the one game if the Cowboys are playing at the same time. Sorry, Cowboys. They're not though. Cowboys play Sunday night, but this is the game I want to watch. Obviously, rematch, right? This game's gonna have some high ratings, and you know that. A great game to watch, man. You want to watch it. Mahomes versus Allen. I mean, come on, bro. Last year's was a classic. You think this is gonna be a great one? It probably will be. I think it will be somewhat of a shootout. Now, here's the caveat. I'll start off with telling you that I think the Bills are going to win, period. Let's start with that. Now, the Chiefs are a tough team to stop, bro. Kels, all that good stuff. Mahomes.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy. But, look at the other side. Allen also threw a slew of touchdowns. Allen is hard to stop, period. So is Mahomes. Again, 2 great quarterbacks, but they both have great targets, right? And Mahomes has Kels. and what's his name has Diggs. It's tough, bro. Both these teams are going to shoot it up. Now, it honestly is going to come down to one simple thing, bro. Who makes the least turnovers, right? Who's going to make that most critical turnover at the wrong time? And that's what it's going to come down to. Honestly, man, I kind of think that Allen's the one who's going to throw the pick. You know, Mahomes has 15 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1,398 yards, whereas Allen has 16, 51, 14 touchdowns, and 4 picks. The average pick to touchdown ratio is kind of even, I guess. Well, I think Mahomes looks a little bit better. Mahomes' picks are usually like a tip ball or a mismatch, right?
Yeah.
Allen has he has a slight like frick it, I'm just gonna throw it kind of attitude sometimes, right? And usually those sometimes are dead on. But he is a little bit more of a gunslinger, and it's hard to say, right? Because you think Mahomes is too, and they both are. I just think that this game has such two high-powered offenses that what is it going to come down to? And in my opinion, the defense on the Buffalo side is just that much stronger. And again, chip on your shoulders, something to prove. Hey, I want to get back, revenge game, whatever you want to call this. I think that inspires the Bills. I think the defense for the Bills comes up big, and they find a way to curtail Mahomes and Kels. The sad part for the Chiefs is they do not have a true running game. Edwards-Helaire, just we keep hoping. It's never gonna happen, man. I don't think he'll ever be that big time running back that you want him to be. I know they have Pacheco standing behind. I think Pacheco eventually ends up being the starter. I don't think he's the big time running back either. I think that's the one thing that if Kansas City had, and you can say, well, they don't really need him, Mahomes, blah blah blah, bull. If they had a really good running back, or at least a good running back committee that was actually good, this team would be unstoppable because you got a quarterback that can run pass, you got a running back that can run, you've got Kels, the receiving core. Obviously, you lost something. Your next best receiver is Valdez Scantling. Come on now, you lost something without Tyreek Hill, which took away from this game, and it's going to take away from the game that they're playing. And I think that the Bills' defense will be too much. I think that Allen will be Allen and scores points. Mahomes will too, man. He's going to be hard to stop. But end of the day, I think that the Bills make the critical stops and the critical turnovers and everything they need to do to win this game. So I'm going to give it to the Bills. And I'm not calling it it's going to be a shootout, but I think once the defense figures things out, I think maybe around that fourth quarter, I think they make a couple of critical stops. And I'm going to give this not just like a 1 point game. I think the Bills are going to win this by like 14 points, 2 touchdowns.
And that's the blueprint. So first of all, imagine Hunt being on this team.
Gee.
One domestic abuse from having
and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. I mean, but they're not. And you're right. They don't run the ball very well. The flip side, the Bills don't run the ball at all. So
Allen is their best running
back. Allen is their best running back. On the defensive side of the ball, stopping the run, they're 1 and 2. Like they're right next to each other in the standings. For pass defense, Buffalo is head and shoulders. They're the 4th. Kansas City is in the middle of the pack. This is the 2 things that I see. This is Josh Allen has circled this game since he didn't get the ball in the playoffs, and he wants to win. Right?
Yep.
I can see them coming in and winning by 2 touchdowns. But the gut, which is not as good as your gut, and I'm probably completely wrong, I see this being at home, and I've seen this Chiefs team do things that just aren't done. They come, that Raiders game, they're getting beat down. You're texting me like, what's up with the homie? 4 touchdowns later, you're not saying that anymore. This is the one team that can look like crap for 3 quarters. And then I don't know if I've even joked, I think sometimes they just go, let's let them have 20. and then they come back and they eviscerate teams. And there is no defense that can stop this guy. I mean, that Kelsey thing, it's not, what are you going to do? You can't. And yes, when they had Hill, it was even worse because those were, basically 2 unstoppable chess pieces. Now they're down to 1. But he spreads the ball around enough and does enough things, and he doesn't make the mistake. And that's where he's that guy that if you again have look what they did to Buffalo. They scored in 40 seconds. Granted, that guy is not here anymore, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Chiefs it's at home. The stadium's going to be rocking, and I think they're up for the challenge. And I think it's a mental thing for the Bills. The worst thing on the Bills is they're the superior team. If they just come in and play solid football, but like you said, Allen's got that, I'm going to do it, and that's what's going to cost them, I think. That's my gut. I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Here's the deal, though. You said it. He came back and he threw 4 touchdowns to one guy, right?
Yeah.
One guy. Other than that, he spread the ball around, all that. But it was 4 touchdowns to one guy. How much yardage did Kills have? 25 yards, bro. And trust me, I was praying he didn't have any more yards, any more touchdowns, because I was trying to get that high score win, and we pulled it off. Had he had more yards, okay. The difference here, though, is the Bills' linebacking core, which we know is very good, obviously. The Bills' linebacking core. Those passes to Kels was linebackers, blown coverage, and stuff like that. They can't keep up with them, right? You look at him going, how do they leave him so open? Tell me you didn't think that in the Raiders game. He was open all the time. And yeah, that's a Travis Kelce thing. He's always open. I don't think he gets his 4 touchdowns. I think that he's the biggest weapon they have in the red zone. The biggest, obviously. Everyone else is mediocre, right? Valdez-Scantling had 90 yards. Again, can you please?
No.
Hardman had 73. Juju, who we thought was going to do great, has not been great there.
Has not.
And this is against a Raiders defense, bro. The Raiders defense, which you cannot say is as good as the Buffalo Bills defense.
No.
I don't see it. I don't see Mahomes doing great against the Buffalo Bills. I think Buffalo Bills are man, I'm going to say it again. I said 2 touchdowns, but I think Buffalo Bills come into this game and make a statement game.
I mean, this is the one to do, and I honestly think Josh Allen's a little bit of a head case.
Well, every great quarterback's a big cuckoo, isn't he? I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers.
But I think he comes in here and he, throws one right in the hands of the Chiefs players, and I can see, how does Kelce get 4 touchdowns? He does it by getting 10-yard drives. So, I don't know. This is going to tell me a lot about Josh Allen. If he comes in here and just destroys his Chiefs team, which they should. On paper, they should come in and kick this team up and down the field. That's going to be their then they're like, wow, that is now the Super Bowl favorites, barring injuries to, key players like Allen. Flip side, if they don't, and they lose to this Chiefs and the road goes back through Kansas City, what do you think about that in the playoffs if these 2 teams play again? Now you got taken out by them last year in the playoffs, and now you're going to have to come back and you lost in the regular season? So, big game for the Bills.
Here's the deal, though. Allen doesn't have to do. I'm telling you, this game's going to be won. Allen's going to throw his touchdowns. He's not going to do this big spectacular splash of games. Look, Carr can score on these guys, so can Allen. But it's the defense that's going to make this game.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The question is, does Allen let his defense do that? If he's matured to that point, then he's fine.
Bro, look, man, they brought enough veteran in there. Like, obviously, that on the defense that I think and walk over down and say, hey, look, been here, done that. I'm who I am. Let my defense roll.
You know why I think he's going to do that? Because that game that they were up by 20 points, he's running the ball, and he doesn't slide.
Yeah. You know what that is, man?
That's being dumb.
100% freaking stupid. I 100% agree, but I get it. Let me tell you, man, I've been in games with my quarterback that you're kicking ass, and he doesn't want to take the knee. He doesn't want to slide. He wants to show his teammates that I'm in it with you, and I'm gonna do something. And yeah, it's stupid and it's crazy thoughts. But man, do you know how much rally a team gets behind something like that when you show an example of balls, straight up balls?
I get it, but you can show examples of balls, Favre did it all the time. Favre threw. I got the look at my arm. It is the greatest arm of all time. We know it. You don't need to squeeze that ball in there. There was another option open. You could have thrown the check down and not thrown all those picks. And Allen has that in him.
But did his team love him?
Yes. But does the team love Mahomes any less?
Of course not. But Mahomes is a crazy cat too, bro. Don't get that twisted. Look at the plays he makes. That's what makes it like they know hands down, like, you know what, man? I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I know Patrick's gonna make it happen. They believe in him, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're down 800 points, but we got 2 minutes left the game.
But he does not, when they're up by 20 points, run around on third down. I've watched too many of the games. He'll slide. He'll get out of bounds.
Who's the coach for the Buffalo Bills and who's the coach for Kansas City?
It's Reed in Kansas City.
Correct.
And
Reed.
It was McDermott in Buffalo?
Correct. Reed. Veteran coach. These players respect. He's daddy. You know he's daddy. Daddy is daddy with Reed. And you know that.
Again, I'm saying that on paper, the Bills should win this game handily. What I think is going to happen is that mindset that Allen has is going to bite him. And I think this is the game. And maybe I'm totally wrong. And I think this is a barometer of how they're going to do.
I think you're right in the sense that Allen feels he has to go out there and he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder because of last year. We get it. But this isn't the defense from last year, and this defense belongs to another man, and this defense is going to tear it up. The statement game isn't about the offense this game. It's about the defense, and that defense is going to corral Kels and Mahomes, man. You're going to see they're still going to score maybe their 3 touchdowns, but I'm telling you, and the Buffalo Bills will score their 4 or 5 touchdowns. It's going to be a crazy game, but the defense is going to be the statement. If they score 3 touchdowns, man, they may score less. I think that Buffalo Bills defense comes in here and says, no.
Again, I totally think it should. They should stop Kelsey. They should stop Mahomes. The running game is not going to do enough to beat. They're like, run the ball. You're not going to beat us. But we'll see. Again, this could get out of hand for the Chiefs. On the flip side, this could be one of those games that they're like, we're not done yet. So, must watch TV.
This is definitely if anything, this, and again, not delusional, but this game and the Dallas-Philly game are 2 good games. You have to choose one, it's this game. Honestly, this is must-see TV. In my opinion, I wish the NFL would have flexed this to a better arena, right?
Yeah.
Your Monday night game or your Sunday night game, one of those, or even a Thursday night game, one of those big national TV games where like, wow, big stage, big game. I don't see how you schedule Buffalo and Kansas City. We're gonna do it in the afternoon. Like, come on.
Exactly. So it's like you said, must watch. And now we're gonna go to your homer team, Dallas at the Eagles, the city of brotherly love.
Big game, for one. This is for the top spot in the NFC East. Big game because it's Cowboys and Eagles, big rivalry. You know, everybody has the division they're in, right? Like, you know, whether you're a Kansas City fan or Jaguars fan, and you have your divisional rivals. This divisional rival is old as dust, and it's big time. It's big time. This game here is going to be a test of what everybody's saying. Dallas Cowboys defense is just great. They're awesome. They stop teams. They're fast. They're this. On the flip side, hiccups all of a sudden. The Philadelphia offense, man, they're fast. They're good. You know, they're not bad. The only thing is, and I think, my opinion, they're overrated. And I'll tell you why. Yes, they're They're undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're 5-0. Yes, okay. I mean, you're in the NFC East, but still, they're undefeated. Jalen Hurts has 1,359 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. 4 touchdowns? Like, I'm not excited about Jalen Hurts. What he can do is move his wheels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their top running back is Sanders with 87 attempts, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts has 68 attempts for 266 and 6 touchdowns. So you know, in the red zone, Hurts is running the ball. You know that Sanders can run the ball. Hurts runs the ball. I'm not big on what their passing game is. He's got a lot of yards, but he has not a lot of touchdowns, right? His best receivers Brown and Smith, which okay, great. They're 5-0. Quarterback can run. He can throw. All that good stuff. He's no Mahomey, obviously. On the flip side of that, though, the Dallas Cowboy defense, hard to run on, hard to pass on at this point. This game, again, and another, I hate to say it, of course I'm a homer, and I'm going to say Cowboys hands down. But I think if the Cowboys want to stand out as a great defense, which people are saying they're great now, but if you want to show that you can be the man as far as defenses, this is the game to do it. This is where you make a statement. This is where you put it down. I'm going to try not to throw any F-bombs down.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done pretty good tonight, maybe a couple, 2, 3, 5 times, but
finger on the beeper.
Yeah, I think that the Cowboys, they need to make a statement here. Not just on the defense. The defense is the main key, right? If they can come in and corral the Eagles and hands down, like, okay, Eagles are still gonna score because they have a good offense, maybe a couple touchdowns. But if the defense can come in here and seriously put a beat down on the Eagles, man, watch out. And I'm not gonna say it yet, but defense wins championships. And if the defense can keep playing phenomenal, watch out for the Cowboys, man. You don't need a big time quarterback to win a championship if your defense is just stellar. And we've seen that, right? In the past more than once. I mean, Trent Dilfer. Who? Exactly. And he won a Super Bowl because the defense is great. So this is going to be a test for the Cowboys. But I honestly believe, and this is also a homer pick, but I do believe the defense will stop Philadelphia. I think Jalen Hurts overrated. They just haven't played strong teams, in my opinion. He's their second best running back, so we know what's up there. And even that, it's not great. They only have almost 700 yards between them and 2 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown for many touchdowns, tons of yards, but not many touchdowns. Their 2 best receivers are Brown and Smith with 28 receptions each. And between them, they have, 800 yards, something or more around there, and only 2 touchdowns. So he's not throwing the ball great. The yardage is there, but his receivers have 436 and 353. So where's the rest of it? He's either checking down or throwing under routes or whatever. It's not looking great. I think this team, the Philadelphia Eagles, at 5-0 is overrated. Yes, their offense is second and all that good stuff. Their defense is good too. And yes, on the flip side, we've got Cooper Rush. And that's my worry. So I think the defense will do great. But I don't think Cooper Rush hasn't proven to me yet that he's great. Obviously, he would have been picked up a long time ago. He wasn't. If he was a great quarterback, he's not the guy you cut before the season starts. So something's not. He's managing, bro, and he's managing because the Cowboys have talent at the running back position with Pollard. I'm not talking Ezekiel. I think Ezekiel's gone soon. I think Pollard is the talented running back. I think they have, and CeeDee Lamb is just playing great. They've got other good running backs as well. I mean receivers. I'm sorry. Noah Brown is really stepping up, and him and Rush have a connection. But this game, on paper, looks like, oh shit, it's going to be a shootout. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are going to do well. You've got essentially a number 1 defense versus a number 1 offense. But I honestly think that the Eagles are a little overrated. I think that the Cowboys defense is too much for them. I think Cooper Rush does enough to manage the game and get us the win. So, long story short, because I could be long-winded with the Cowboys, and I know I said one bad word, but it wasn't an F-bomb, it was an S-bomb, and those are mediocre.
Mediocre.
But anyway, yes.
Sponsors
Cowboys
will not get pulled for that. So,
Cowboys.
Yep. And you're right. The Eagles offense, we talked about coaches and how they try to make their systems out there and then players fit into that. The Eagles are the opposite. They have what they have and they matriculate the ball down. This is a Hank Stram type team. They do not take chunks. They take 15-yard chunks by running the ball or doing little tosses and things like that. And it's about flow for them, which was kind of amazing to watch, because if you're bigger, you can't flow. If you're smaller, they'll make you flow into each other, and then they take advantage of that. So no matter what your defense is doing, they've got kind of a counter for it by the way they're going. They are not going to sit back there and put Hurts in the pocket and beat you. If that's what they're going to try to do, they're going to lose. But what they are going to do, like you said, if it's 15 yards from there, they're going to run Hurts, and it's going to look weird, and you're not going to know how he got in the end zone. And that's what's odd about it. On the flip side, the Phillies' defense is statistically ranked better than the Cowboys. So they're no slouch in the defensive category either. So you in my head, you've got an elite defense in Dallas, an elite defense in Philly, a very an offense that knows its identity. They are going to chunk run the ball with short little. I mean, it's a West Coast offense, right? Short little passes, little runs, and get yards after the catch, and make you miss. And Hurts running every once in a while just to throw you off. It is perfect. They're happy to get 7 yards a carry. They don't panic when they're down 14-0. This is a solid team. Then you got the Cowboys and Rush, and the question is going to be, what's your offense against them? And he's done well the last 4 weeks. You don't want to dial him out, and I hope it's a good game, but at the end of the day, you've got a quarterback problem still. And I don't think the guy that you cut before the season is suddenly Tom Brady. He doesn't statistically look that way. I think what he's doing is he's not turning the ball over, and he's letting the defense win games for you, and making a key third down play when you want. And I just think the Eagles are going to do more of that. So I'm taking the Eagles.
Well,
I hope you're right, though.
Let me point something out. And you can say this for both teams. I'll be upfront about that. But Eagles are 5-0. And who have they played? Let's look at that. The Lions. They beat them 38-35. Then they went and played the Vikings. They beat them 24-7. Then they played the Commanders. They beat them 24-8. Then they played, this little team. What are these guys?
I don't want to talk about that game. But they beat
them.
All
right, so they beat the Jaguars 29-21. All right, now then they went and they beat the Cardinals 20-17. So Cardinals put up 17, right? The Jaguars put up 21. Vikings and Commanders, they didn't put up much, right? Touchdown apiece. But the Lions put up 35 points on them. So I don't see how their defense is great when they're getting scored on like this. Can the Cowboys score like that? Yes. They're just as good as the Jaguars. They're just as good as the Cardinals, even with Cooper Rush. And they're definitely just as good as the Lions, in my opinion. So that tells me that's a defense that can be scored on. I think the Cooper Rush will take care of business. Now, on the flip side of that, who have they played? They gave them a big challenge where they've scored points on the JV teams. Now, on the flip side of that, yes, the Cowboys have probably done the same thing, right? They played the Buccaneers and lost 19-3. We get it. Dak Prescott was playing that. We all know Cooper Rush is far superior quarterback than Dak Prescott. And then they played the Bengals and won 20-17. Still, they got 17 points for them, but the defense started showing up. Then they beat the Giants 23-16. The Giants scored some points on them, but Giants are scoring on people. So are the Bengals. Then they played the Commanders, 25-10. Then they played the Rams 22-10. And again, none of those teams are like, except for maybe the Giants who are starting to move the ball and the Bengals, right? But out of that, the other two teams you're looking at going, yeah, okay, the Rams and the Commanders. I get it. So both of them haven't really played anybody, to be honest. But that's my whole point to why the Eagles are so overrated. Who have they beat? And look who's scoring on them. On the flip side of that, yeah, the Cowboys are pretty beating people, but they're stopping people, right? So if by law of averages and not gut, but although my gut's saying they're going to win too, the Cowboys will take this. And I honestly think that if the Cowboys defense makes a statement game out of this, it could mean something. So, yeah, anyways, Cowboys.
I hope you're right. I want your team to do well.
That sucks because I picked against yours.
Yeah. I picked against yours. So there's logic.
Yeah, but I don't care about your team.
Although, to be honest, I don't think Jalen Hurts is that much better of a quarterback than Rush. I think he's a athletic quarterback. He's way more athletic than Rush, but I don't know he's a better quarterback.
And you're right. They don't take chunks. They take nibbles. That's what they are. Look at it.
Matriculate the ball down the field, Ripper.
Yeah. You went with a big word, too. I was like, whoa, you need a big word button or something.
Yeah, big word button.
Jesus.
All right. Our final game of the week is going to be the Broncos and the Chargers.
Oh boy, where do you start with this one? First off, I think Russell Wilson. You see, I
Good
already
old
forgot
Jeff.
his name.
Good old Jeff Wilson.
I think a different color, a different shade of orange, and he should be with Cleveland. Look, man, Russell isn't who Russell is anymore, bro. Let's be honest. Seattle let him go for X number of reasons, but one of them was because he wasn't that quarterback no more. I honestly think Russell Wilson has lost something. In my opinion, again, still my opinion, and I've said this week in and week out, I do think Russell has lost a step. I think Russell is. I think at the end of the season he calls it quits, bro. It's been a good career, man. He
won
he
a
does have
ring.
a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's
You
got
got a
ring.
pretty
He's had a
face. You
good
can go be
career.
an announcer.
I
He
mean,
can.
exactly.
There's a third spot. We've got an analyst spot open on this podcast, so
Call Warty Russell. But yeah, man, I just don't see it in him no more. I really don't. I think he's hanging on to a season much too long, in my opinion, to his career, anyways. And I get that, man. Don't they all? I mean, I know you guys all beat Brady, but don't they all kind of hang on a little too long?
yeah.
I mean, look at Troy Aikman, right? Like, he hung on.
I mean, Manning held on 2 years too long. I mean, yeah.
Manning should have retired after he almost broke his neck, but
Yeah.
he came back and he won a Super Bowl. But yeah, man, I hate to say it, Russ just isn't looking good anymore. I mean, they played the Colts and they won 12-9. I'm pissed off because I dropped the damn kicker for Denver. I should have kept him, but anyways, Russ just don't look like, man. I mean, 21 of 39, 274, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I saw some highlights of that game and I was like, man, this guy just, I don't know, man. He's just not there, bro. He's just not there. I think he's lost a step. I don't think he'll ever be what they thought he was going to be. I think they definitely overpaid. I think Russ retires eventually and writes a check to the Denver Broncos with a big "I'm sorry." Yeah, man, I just don't think he's there, and I don't think that that's going to change anytime soon. And they're not playing a team that's soft either. I think the Chargers are going to come in, and their defense isn't great, but it's middle of the road, anyways. Herbert should be back or is in full force. He's good. He's been playing. He hasn't stopped playing. So he'll heal up. He'll be all right. Herbert's still with a broken rib and a bruised heart and a torn lung and a punctured spleen.
He's putting 300 up, yeah.
Yeah. So he's still tearing it up. He's got 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. Eckler this last game decided, hey, I'm going to be an NFL running back. So that may be great. They lost Keenan Allen, who is, I believe, coming back this week, I hope. Even though Mike Williams has stood in perfectly and done pretty well. Keelan's still a great receiver to have on that team. So he'll be back. And the Chargers only get better as they move forward. I don't think the Broncos and their field goals are going to win this game whatsoever. I'm just going to say it one more time before I sign off on this one. I don't think Russell Wilson is the quarterback at all for the Broncos. I think that he needs to retire eventually, and that's what it is. On the flip side, he played the Colts last week, and it was like the geriatric quarterback show, right? I mean, both of them should be retired. So moving forward to this game against the Chargers, there's just no way. There's no way. I don't even have to say gut. This ain't gut. This is like, oh, look, somebody brought their grandpa to play football. Not going to happen. Russell Wilson probably throws for another couple of picks and shats the bed. Is shat a bad word?
It is not. I think that's an acceptable one.
All right. Well, he's going to shat the bed. And Herbert, I will be Herbert. Do great. Look great. And the Chargers win this one probably pretty convincingly. And it's sad because the Broncos have a couple of really good receivers, man. They do. And then also the Broncos took a hurt on the running game, right? Williams is done for the season. Come on, Melvin Gordon, another guy who shouldn't be playing football anymore. So, my long story short, Chargers win this one.
The Broncos have scored 75 points. So I think we said it earlier that there's it's a copycat league, right? So you look back 2 years ago, Bucs brought in Brady, won a Super Bowl. Last year, Rams brought in Stafford, won a Super Bowl. So all these teams like the Denver Broncos, they've needed a quarterback that just couldn't get one, or like, we'll just bring in a quarterback. The flip side is a lot more often it happens like this. Their offense looks anemic. I don't know. I don't. Is it you've grown up your entire year on one system? You don't know how to learn a second system. Is it you don't study? Like I don't know what it is, but he looks bad. The offense looks terrible, and it's consistently terrible. Like it's not like it's one thing if you score, if Cousins, right? You put up 31 week, you put up 3 the next. Like that's maddeningly inconsistent because you can at least do it. They're just bad across the board, right? They're scoring 15 points a game. Flip side, the Chargers are 3-2, and they're not happy about that. This was their, like you said, they want to be Super Bowl contenders. They've got the quarterback, the stud quarterback. They've got talent on the outside at the running back position, at the wide receiver position. Their field, this is their year. With the Raiders struggling, the Raiders made a bunch of flashy signings. They're struggling. The Broncos are struggling. It's going to be them and the Chiefs. I mean, if you're right and the Bills win, they win this game. They're tied for first. The Chargers are gonna win this one. I would be surprised if they don't. I feel this is a lot like the Buffalo game last week, where you're not going to be able to beat them with your offensive output. So the Chargers.
Yeah. You want to say, and you're right, though. You want to say good stuff about Russell Wilson, but you're right. The copycat league. The Broncos stopped bringing Russell Wilson. Everybody else is doing it. We'll do it too. Yeah, that experiment is left the building. It's not going to happen with Russell, and I think they're going to hang on to Russell way too long. If they don't cut him this season and bring him back next season, it's going to be another season of the same BS. I hate to say it, man. Russell was great. He's just not there anymore, and I think it's time he hangs it up, man. I think that you got to know when it's time, and I know it's hard for some quarterbacks, and maybe it's just like, hey, you know what? One more big paycheck before I retire, right?
Yeah,
That could be that too.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, this is where, I've said this in some of the other talks is he's not a prototype. He is an athletic quarterback that was playing baseball in college, and he is not a 6-foot guy. He's not that, and so I think what happens is that at some point age catches up to you. You're not 20 anymore. You're not an athlete. You can't do those things. He used to run all over the field. He's not doing that anymore. And now they're expecting you to sit in the pocket when you're a dwarf and throw passes when you can't. You have to get outside the pocket. So what works at 25 doesn't work at 35, right? And it's I guess Seattle knew that. They kept it a secret because his stats didn't show that. And then pawned him off, and so got a couple draft picks for him. So good job, Seattle.
Yeah, it is what it is. The era of Russell is done. It's just him to notice and realize that my season's over and it's time to move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chargers are gonna do great. I honestly believe Herbert is gonna be one of the greats. He's a great quarterback, man. He came in as a rookie great. He's been great. He's gonna stay great. He's tough, obviously. I think that someday we'll be having that discussion of Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, like just these great era quarterbacks, right? I know they're not all the same year, but this great era of quarterbacks is now, man. It is now.
Yeah.
We've got some really like stellar quarterbacks. Not a lot of them, right? But in that top 5 right now in the NFL right now, you would be talking about
Burrow
Allen,
and Mahomes
Burrow,
and
Herbert,
Allen and
Cooper
exactly.
Rush,
Trevor Lawrence, and then yeah,
I mean, you get what I mean. It's gonna be great. I mean, his career will be great. But yeah, Chargers win this one, and good old Russell, he needs to come and call you, and you need to sign him to the 3rd seat on this show.
Yes.
Give us a call, Russell.
We can get you and Carter. We have a 4-man booth.
We're gonna pay you in Cheetos and gummies.
Exactly. All right, another great week. Thanks, River.
All right, buddy. It was fun, man. I can't wait till next weekend. It's obviously I'll have another 12-4 week or whatnot, but it is what it is.
Obviously.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, thank